truths. I have been, and always shall be, your friend.
Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this. I can do things. Welcome to our very first episode of The Tangent, which is where we start on a subject. And I don't think we're going to get off of this subject, but you never know. It is entirely possible that I will completely veer off into the left. That's why it's called a tangent. We'll go down rabbit holes as I tend to do. But for tonight, our tangent is about James Gunn and his Superman film that is coming out. So I don't foresee us veering off in any other tangents or wormholes or rabbit holes. You never know, it might happen. It's unlikely though, because oh boy, we got we got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, really, truly. First and foremost, before we get, so we've got new clips, we've got new interviews, we've got a couple day old interviews that have been around for a little while and have sort of made the rounds, but we're going to kind of talk about it. And just, I don't know. If I was making a Superman film, I would probably try to focus on Superman. For those of you that caught it at the beginning, I probably am going to have to cut it out because DC is insane with that stuff. Warner Brothers goes crazy with their copyright. And that was, the intro. But in that intro, we got so much of Superman's story and his character without a single word of dialogue. And we also saw a bit of Lois. Now, Lois is someone that we're going to focus on for a few minutes too. This might sound strange, but Lois feels to me like the James Gunn self-insert in this situation. I don't know. I just find it odd. Her mannerisms, and now Lois was always she wanted the truth. She always, even at her own peril, she always sought the truth. And that was one of the main reasons that Clark Kent was so impressed with her and was so enraptured with her. It wasn't the snarkiness, it wasn't the smoky eye, though I'm sure the smoky eye helped, but it was because she wasn't willing to sell out any part of herself to get ahead. Does that make sense? She refused to sell out in order to get ahead, and that's why she got frustrated when all of a sudden this country bumpkin Smallville boy shows up and he's getting front page coverage of Superman. Meanwhile, she's been over here grinding and busting her butt, and she's not getting these front page stories, and she's like, I need to work harder. How can I beat this? Like, how can I improve so that I can get these front page stories? Like, I'm gonna go on the beat with Superman now because I've got the in with him. Clark doesn't, and it's going to be fine. So she was always the one gunning for the biggest story, the best story, but it had to be true. And she would always, 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 always follow it. That's why she always ended up in some insanely dangerous situations, because she would literally seek the truth to her own demise. And it's insane. Straw Hat Miguel, thank you so much for being here. Good evening to you. It does look rough. The CGI, like CGI aside, because I mean, we know that Snyder did cavil dirty with the CGI lips over the mustache situation. But this whole thing looks very rough, and it is a bubble lens. I It is my understanding, I could be wrong, that this was filmed for 3D, which is why it has that very just bizarre bubble feel to it, that like almost like a dome effect to it. That's why you have the screen interactions, like the teeth bouncing off the glass and stuff like that. So yeah, it's rough is a good word. I don't know. It's we're about to get into a Rolling Stone article that I have a feeling is going to be very eye-opening, more so than the bubblefish eyes for quite a few people. It definitely was for me. Like I was already saying a lot of this stuff, and everybody told me that I was being cynical, that there's no way I could know that off of such short trailers and the little bits of marketing that we've seen. And I was like, God, this isn't anything new. We've seen all of these tactics before. We've seen all of this before. Like, why are you guys pretending like this is something new? Well, it's James Gunn. It's James Gunn. I've never liked James Gunn. I liked the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was good. I hated number 2. Loathed it with every fiber of my being. And I thought 3 was a waste of time, quite frankly. And I really disliked the Guardians and with the Avengers, the humor back and forth, like what am I supposed to say? Jesus? Like, now Chris Pratt can pull it off, but this isn't Chris Pratt and this isn't Star-Lord. This is Superman. And we'll get into James Gunn's own words on this. Hello, Brimstone. Thanks for being here. He lost hope in this film when they said there would be more than one hero in a Superman. In the first Superman film. The very first outing of DC. This is your very first one. And you think that it's a smart idea to just front load your superhero film, your Superman film? You think it's a good idea to front load that with a whole bunch of other characters? Like, that's where we're going. That seems, I'm going to be kind and say misguided. That seems misguided. That does not seem like a wise decision at all. And I know you guys are going to call me crazy, but I swear they are attempting to make him look more like Cavill than Clark Kent. And I know that sounds crazy. But I'm going to show you guys a couple of pictures. And I really want your, like... It's bizarre. I'm not trying to knock the dude. He's plenty attractive. But there are some promotional things that I'm just like, bro, you're trying to make him look like Cavill. You're not trying to make him look like Clark Kent. Oh, somebody said Kent Clark, and I had to do, like, you know when you have to do, like, a triple take? Because you're like, wait, what? Did I hear that correctly? Like, was that correct? Did I hear that correctly? Because if I did, we've got some issues. And so then I had to, like, check myself. I was like, what? So, yes, it's Ma and Pa Kent. It's Clark Kent, not Kent Clark. I was like, I know he's got 2 first names, but I also have 2 first names. And it isn't that difficult to keep it straight. But I don't know. But yeah, a couple of clips dropped. Now I can't find any of them. Hold on. There it is. There's one in particular. Chords. I gotta get this straight. So we get a little bit more in depth into like we get a little bit more of Lois's character reveal in this situation. I'm not a. I'm gonna just stay quiet, and I will let all of that speak for itself. Because really, truly, like, I'll show it to you guys, and then I'll give my commentary. That tends to be the most honest way to handle this stuff. So, un momento, por favor. Yabun. All right, here we are. So, oh my goodness, the chat has blown up whilst I've been. Nope, we can't do that. Gotta have. James Gunn has got to be James Gunning. Oh, look, he's making a finger gun. He's so quirky. Who else showed up? Cal G, what's going on? What's up? In a way, you have a point. I just wish that Gunn chose a different cinematographer. Bro, the world wishes he had chosen a different cinematographer. I don't know what the cinematographer has on DC Studios, but he's got to know where the bodies are buried, because good lord. I would rather take Superman Forever film by Kevin Smith over this I don't know about that. Oh no, you can call me crazy. I trust me. I have my unhinged moments. You guys have heard them. Also, by the way, I am attempting to figure out the best use of sound and my microphone and whatnot, because I am in a literal shoe closet. I am in my closet because this is where I can be my craziest self without waking up small children and stuff like that. So, all that jazz. Straw Hat Miguel, thank you for stopping by. Yes, I appreciate you being here. Yes, that's where they lost me to. Well, we're gonna get into that. Fear not. Fear not. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this very revealing Rolling Stone article that we're gonna try and breeze through, because 31 minutes is that is a bit to chew on, but there is so much in this article, guys, and it's terrifying. It's not good. It's not good. All right. Superman director James Gunn. Superman presents James Gunn. You don't want everyone to root for you. For Superman? Yeah, you do. You actually do want people rooting for you. You want people to cheer for Superman. This is what these people fundamentally don't understand. I'm about to ruin everybody's day with this information. I said THIS, not dis or miss, this information, THIS, this information. Not all underdogs are heroes. I will say that again. Not all underdogs are heroes. Not all rebellions, not all revolutionaries, not all underdogs are the good guys. The bad guys from World War II, they were the underdogs until they weren't. They were the minority until they weren't. They were an underdog. That they championed that whole thing of, we represent the small guy, we're here for the people, we're one of you. They were the underdog. The bad guys from World War II were the underdogs. Not all underdogs are heroes. Not all underdogs are the good guys. Superman is not an underdog, and he is the quintessential hero. He is a paragon, and that is why none of these people can write him. because they don't believe in paragons. They do not believe that someone or something like Superman can actually exist, because they themselves can't be it and they themselves can't relate to it, so they assume that nobody else can either. Which is just a load of cockamamie. It's just pure, unadulterated hubris. And it is just saturated in this Rolling Stone article. Don't worry, if we have time, we're gonna get to the EW one as well, the Entertainment Weekly one. Unbelievable. Look at this pretentious prick. Yeah, that's the sign of humility right there. Not a Superman emblem in sight, not a DC logo in sight. Like, this guy, I'm sorry, he's not special, and he is overrated. And I said in a tweet the other day, I was like, the only reason that he is still around is because he got in trouble early on for some of his tweets, and he got put in director jail. He got put in timeout. And so while all of these other execs and producers and directors were burning these IPs to the ground, he was in timeout. But he would have been doing the exact same thing to every single one of these IPs. Exact same thing. So here we go. It's not hard to find James Gunn's office on the Warner Brothers lot. I hope not. He's the freaking co-CEO. If it's hard to find him, then you've got a serious problem, because you have a co-lead of the DCU, of the DC studios, hiding. That's not a good look. It shouldn't be hard to find his office, but I digress. This show is literally called The Tangent, guys. Hold on. A huge, glowing Superman S symbol beckons from an entrance wall. A huge, glowing Superman S symbol beckons from an entrance wall. I'm gonna just, nope. Visible through a glass door from yards away. Well, if it's a huge glowing S, I would hope that it's visible from yards away. Why, like, bro, if I worked at DC Studios, you better believe I would have the bat signal on 24/7. Like, it would literally be projecting next to the wall with, like, Superman emblem and Wonder Woman's emblem. It would literally be I'd have all of their emblems up on the wall, just bright and neon and just gloriously loud. Be like, yes, we are here, we are super, and we're gonna crush some bad guys. We can't even crush storylines, though. Gunn, 58. He's 58? Ooh, he looks rough. Hollywood, that's Hollywood, baby. Gunn, 58, is in his third year as co-CEO. He's been co-CEO for 3 years? I didn't realize he was responsible for so much crap that has come out from DC lately. Oh my gosh. For some reason, I was thinking it was only like a year and a half. Maybe that's just because all of the other stuff ramped up. In his third year as co-CEO of the company's newly created DC Studios, it's not newly created, what? Sharing the title and office with Peter Safran, who has been incredibly quiet, may I point out, who handles the business side of the operation. You should tell Peter Safran should not be the silent business partner. James Gunn should be the silent business partner. So somebody needs to have a talkie-to with Mr. Gunn. Together, they're creating a new superhero universe around some very old characters. What the? How about classic characters? Very old characters. A new superhero universe around some very old characters. Do you know what that's code for? Updated for modern audiences. That's what that was. They're just rewording it. They are attempting to hide it. Aiming to finally make Superman and Friends and Family and Flying Pet truly competitive with the currently shaky Marvel Cinematic Universe. Oh, so we can now admit that the MCU is shaky? We can finally admit that? Rolling Stone? Because you guys just did an article about how glorious the MCU was. So, Do you guys just not read your own articles? Do we have, like, really short-term memory loss? No? Okay. Just gonna carry on my wayward son. Gunn is a refugee from that universe. Bro. Oh my gosh. He's gonna make the connection of him being a refugee and Superman being a refugee. I'm calling it right now. Here we go. Let's see if I'm even close to right. Gunn is a refugee from that universe after writing and directing his final MCU movie, 2023's Guardian of the Galaxy 3, which I thought was overrated and not very good. Superman, due July 11th. It's not a paper. Do you mean due out July 11th? It's not like they're turning the film in on July 11th. Come on, Rolling Stone. Man, oh man. Superman is the first feature film set in the new DCU. And arguably one of the highest stakes movies ever made. Though Gunn despises that framing. Okay, everybody else is telling you that it's like the highest stakes movie, one of the highest stakes movies ever made. And Gunn's like, no, it's not. Bro, perception is reality. Like, literally, yes, everything is riding on this. This movie is going to determine the success of every other movie that you claim you have a 10-year plan for. You can't even get a Superman movie out on time. This had gotten delayed, remember? Like, just make a good Superman. Not even a good Super. You need to make a damn near. This needs to be a minimum of a 9.8 out of 10 Superman film. That's what this needs to be. A 9.8. I'm just saying. Hoy vey. He's an unlikely studio exec to say the least. Yeah, he spent his early years trying every conceivable creative outlet, fronting bands, drawing alt weekly comic strips, acting, performing monologues in dive bars. That sounds like somebody, he wants attention. He's an attention seeker. He is an attention seeker. He isn't in this for the love of it. He is in it because he wants that success. He wants that fame. He wants, as evidenced by this right here. This right here. Look at this. This man is not doing this for the love of genre or the love of superheroes or because he is a fan just like the rest of us. If one more person tells me that Gunn is a fan just like the rest of us, I am going to shin kick something. I don't know what and I don't know who. Just be wary. Somebody, shin kicks are coming. It's probably honestly gonna probably just be the soccer ball. But I digress. My gosh. So he did all of these creative outlets and none of them stuck. He wasn't able to break in with any of these outlets. He also got a Columbia MFA and published a raw early aughts debut novel, The Toy Collector, finding a path to his true calling when Lloyd Kaufman, co-founder of famed B-movie purveyor Troma Entertainment, paid him $150 to write a screenplay for something called Tromeo and Juliet. Okay. He was soon writing big-budget movies from Scooby-Doo to Dawn of the Dead. Wait, I didn't like either of those movies. Interesting. And directing quirky films of his own, one of which caught Marvel's attention, landing him the first Guardian of the Galaxy in 2014. With that film, he made himself an instant A-plus list director, forging a blockbuster from a deeply personal blend of left-field humor, visual dexterity, and aching empathy for the oddest of characters, all scored with the Cosmos' greatest mixtape. So, here's the thing. Gunn can take obscure characters and change them because they tend to not have as much of a dedicated following, and it gets those characters more exposure. Superman doesn't need any more exposure. Superman is a global phenomenon. So is Batman. So is Wonder Woman. Oh my gosh, DC has a lot. Like, they're literally known as the DC Trinity. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Batman actually outsells Superman, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely on merchandising. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are known as the Trinity of DC. But they have so many, like, DC is a treasure trove, and Warner Brothers has no idea what they are doing. None whatsoever. They are making emotional decisions. They are making emotional decisions, not business decisions. I've said this before, and it is costing them everything. Oh my goodness. And I wouldn't say that that was the Cosmos' greatest mixtape. I know what they're trying to go with, but really, just no. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Gunn is a one-hit wonder, and it's not even that good of a wonder. After the second movie in 2017, right-wing trolls unearthed some of his edgy early tweets, and Marvel fired him. Those edgy tweets were PDF files comments. And he claims they were just jokes. They were just edgy. That they're blaming the right-wing trolls unearthed, like they were buried, like they were hard to find. They were on a public platform. Oh my gosh, Rolling Stone, I hate you so much. They soon changed their minds, but the temporary separation opened the door to his first DC film, Suicide Squad, which I also hated, and his current gig. Bro. Oh my gosh. What does it tell you that DC is so desperate that they are willing to take Gunn on? And I did a video, gosh, how long ago now? I think it's been years. Since I did this video. It's been at least a year. And I said that Marvel was aiming Gunn at DC. Like they fired him. They fired him. But it was a ploy. It's a 4D chess move. They were like, yo, we're gonna let you make your third Suicide Squad film, but we're gonna make it look like we're firing you, and you need to go over to DC and tank them, because if they get off the ground, we'll never recover in time to overtake them. So we need you to stop any and all forward progress that they have. Like, that's essentially the summation of the video. It's got Gunn and Jason Momoa on the cover, and it's like, or on the thumbnail, and it says like gutted on it or something like that. It was over a year ago. I think it's been a year and a half now. But I genuinely think that this was a ploy by Marvel. Marvel knew. Marvel looked ahead, and they were like, we are screwed. We're screwed. Like, Gunn, this is what's gonna happen. This is what we're gonna, like, make it look like. You need to give them a little bit so they let you all the way in, and then you need to just utterly obliterate them. Because that is the only logical conclusion I can come up with as to why Gunn is going down this road, lauding how great he is. Suicide Squad was terrible, by the way. In a glass case in the hallway of his shared office, which once belonged to Frank Sinatra, is a full Superman costume worn by the late Christopher Reeve. I actually hate that. A Gene Hackman worn Lex Luthor bathrobe is in its own case in the spa-sized bathroom. Gunn sits on a couch with Superman and Aquaman action figures looming above him on a mantle. On the coffee table are various DC comics, among them one eyebrow-raising anomaly. A copy of the first Marvel DC crossover project, 1976 Superman vs. the Amazing Spider-Man, The Battle of the Century. Bro, you are not ready for a crossover project. I don't know what's being hinted at here, but it needs to stop. Supergirl, which is out next year, is wrapping principal photography. How much were you on set? 0. Very little. I mean, at the very beginning, but I've been pretty busy, as you might imagine. I was really involved at the script stage, but then Greg has just been such a great partner. He's just been doing his thing. You never know how something cuts together, but right now it looks amazing. It's really cool stuff. Reminder, James Gunn is also the one that said The Flash was the best superhero film he had ever seen. That's no longer called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, correct? Pauses. I think it's just called Supergirl. Note that Superman went from Superman Legacy to just Superman, and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow just became Supergirl. That is what they are. He is attempting to cement, and it makes sense why a director would want his projects, or why a studio head would want his projects to be what people think of. But now think about this. When you go type in Superman, it's going to be David Cornsweet that pops up. And when you type in Supergirl, it's going to be the girl that they cast for Supergirl because they're the most recent. That's what they're going to try. I predict this going about as well as Rings of Power, where they tried to make their Galadriel the quintessential Galadriel, and she just got buried in the algorithm. Like, Google tried to push her a few times, but it wasn't what people wanted, and eventually she just fell to the bottom. I anticipate this is what's going to happen with Superman and Supergirl. When you type them in, the first things that are going to pop up are James Gunn's Superman and Supergirl. And eventually people are going to, like, the algorithm is going to note that people are not looking for those pictures or are not clicking on those pictures, and it will eventually push those pictures down. But in his hubris, this man is trying to make his characters the forefront of what people think of when they say Superman and Supergirl. Nobody is replacing Christopher Reeve. It's just not happening. Your Superman movie was first called Superman Legacy, and now it's just Superman. Yeah, I'm always cutting. Legacy was really, we do something called prematorum. A prematorum is you get together with your group that's doing the project. It's usually about a couple months before shooting, and you go, hypothetically, if it's an epic disaster, what are the things that we're doing today that are going to cause it to be an epic disaster? Everyone here can speak freely. Insulting the fan base. Insulting the fan base. Centering the marketing around you and not Superman. Just, we're here to speak freely, right? We can speak freely. There's two really big ones right there. The things you find on other productions are the things that people are whispering, oh God, I don't know why they cast that actor. He doesn't fit the role. Or the production designer's never on time. One of the things I brought up was it's called Superman Legacy. It was called Superman Legacy, even though I was the one that gave it that title. I just wasn't sure. First of all, I'm sick of the superhero title, other name thing. Oh my God. And then it also seems to be looking back when we're looking forward, even though it does have to do with legacy in the movie itself. And everybody was like, oh yeah, no, change it. Bro, nobody is going to tell the co-studio head who determines whether or not they have a job in the next 5 minutes that, hey, actually, that idea is really stupid and you should keep it a Superman Legacy. These people don't live in reality. They do not live in reality. It occurred to me that this particular version of Superman needed a certain version of you and a certain version of the audience. Could 2010 James Gunn have made this film? I don't think the 2020 James could. Obviously not. You were in director jail. Everybody knows I was offered Superman in 2018. No, we don't all know that. We don't all know that. I knew that. But I guarantee you at least one of you out there did not. I forget even why I knew that. I think it's because I had to go down another rabbit hole at a different point in time. Again, I digress. They also talked to me about Batman earlier than that, but I was in the middle of Guardians 3. If they had come to me in 2018 with Batman, I would have said yes. But yeah, I just couldn't quite wrap my head around it. Bro. What had to change? I needed the right way in, and that required time to think through a few thousand options before I got to the way that I thought worked. But I do also think that my life and career has been a gradual softening of the edges. I still like black comedy. I still have edges. But I used to like provoking a lot. You're still provoking, my dude. And today, although I still seem to do it, no, you don't seem to do it. You do it. I don't really like doing that. Okay, well, you can say whatever you want, but I've seen the promotional material. Really. In my heart, I'm pretty sentimental. I must be buried very, 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 very deep down in your heart. Very deep down. That you can't reach it. I just believe in basic human values. No, you don't, because then you would understand Superman. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy was a good starter kit for that. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy 4. That's what this is. They all had a lot of heart. They have a lot of heart, but they do have their own weirdness and oddities and edginess. I'm sick of the word edgy and edginess. And Superman isn't that, even though he does from the outside have a lot of oddness. A flying dog in a cape is odd. Giant walking robots and kaijus, that's all odd. Those aren't characteristics of Superman. Those are things around Superman. Like those are not things about Superman. That is nothing to do with his character. And when I say character, I don't mean the character of Superman. I mean his character. As like if he was a real, like, what is he made of? His metal, his character. Oh my word. But the very good nature of him, this really strong belief in what's right, sometimes perhaps to a fault, is what makes Superman who he is. And that is not Star-Lord or Rocket. Yes. I told you guys, Star-Lord and Rocket, but it's going to be Superman and Krypto. My word. That's not a guy who's angry or covering up his emotions. He's pretty pure. And so getting to the place where I could write that character was a journey. In the past, I would have done it through making fun of the character, and I don't think that's what I do here. Yes, you do. I'm less afraid now than I used to be. I allow myself to be purely creative more than I used to. And I thought I was being purely creative, but a lot of times it was just anger releasing itself in another way. I'm less afraid of being goofy or sentimental or boring or straight. I don't think he understands what any of that means. And this is word vomit. He is just saying things. They do not attach to anything. And he went for, like, this is nothing but the very good nature of him, this really strong belief in what's right, sometimes perhaps to a fault, is what makes Superman who he is. One sentence, and he still misses the mark on it. This really strong belief in what's right. He fights for truth and justice. Like, this shouldn't be difficult. And that is not Star-Lord or Rocket going to, his other characters. That's not a guy who's angry or covering up his emotions. Still, like, referencing Superman, but through the lens of Star-Lord and Rocket. He's pretty pure. No, he is pure. He is a paragon. I'm gonna have an aneurysm. And so we've gotten 2.5. I will give him a quarter of a sentence for that. We've gotten one sentence about Superman, one sentence about Superman through the lens of Star-Lord and Rocket, and then a quarter of a sentence. So I will give him, he gave us 1.5 sentences about Superman. And now we are into getting to the place where I could write that character. In the past, I would have made fun of the character. I'm telling you guys, he does not respect comics or fans or why we love the IPs we do or what makes these characters who they are. He doesn't care. He does not care. He 100% is making fun of Superman. If you've seen the latest trailer, which I can't show on here because DC will absolutely tank this freaking entire stream, but he literally, Superman rolls over, is out of breath. He's like, I'm not just kidding around. I'm doing something really important. He sounds like a whiny, emo teenager. Gunn is 100% mocking Superman and using Superman as a platform to mock the audience as well. 100%. I allow myself to be, I was being purely creative. It was just anger releasing itself in another way. Yeah, that sounds like a healthy way to write Superman. When you're full of anger. I've been I've seen a bit of the movie, and there's a very grounded interview scene between Lois and Clark that seems like new territory for you. That is not a grounded interview, and we're gonna use this to segue over in just a second. That's a huge thing for me. I have long talking scenes in Guardians, but they are stuffed with jokes. Yeah, we noticed. And that's not the case here. There's funny stuff that happens in the scene because he couldn't help it, but it's all situational. You realize that you write the situation, right? Like, you write the scene, you write what's happening, you write the situation around the scene, the conversation, the dialogue that is occurring. You know that, right, Mr. Gunn? And so allowing myself to write that scene, which is truly about two characters and the different ways they see the world and morality. So you would have had the impulse to make that more jokey? Yeah, horror movies and comedies are so comforting to a filmmaker because if they're working, the audience is reacting constantly. But you don't like when the audience reacts. And on this note, we're going to switch over to, where did it go? There it is. Here is
doesn't have time.
A clip of the interview that was on the Kelly Clarkson show. But I swear I actually saw this clip before, but I can't remember where because I have been so, like, saturated with Superman stuff. Here we go. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm gonna do this. Okay, here we go.
You've gotten a lot of heat on social media lately.
I don't read that stuff. Superman doesn't have time for selfies.
Third person. You're referring to yourself in third person now?
No, it's just a thing I came up with that stuff.
Is it muted? I can hear it. Hold on. Ba-da-da-da-da. Let me see. Hold on. Share screen. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Okay. Hold on.
You've gotten a lot of heat on social media lately.
Bro.
I don't read that stuff. Superman doesn't have time for selfies.
That's a joke, guys. That's a joke. So is this follow-up.
Third person. You're referring to yourself in third.
She's mocking him. She's mocking him. Remember, Gunn said, in the past I would have done that through making fun of the character. That's what she's doing.
Third person now?
No, it's just a thing I came up with that I thought I'd try to work into the next interview.
This is on the record, Superman.
Okay.
This is on the record, Superman.
Okay, well, not the part where I said that.
Yes, that part.
No, that part was an aside. That was off the record.
You have to say off the record beforehand, not afterward.
Why are you being like this?
It's fine. I won't.
Because she's a prick? Because she is awful? Because she doesn't actually care about him at all? She saw a juicy story and jumped on it. I am just... Also, Superman would absolutely take selfies with, like, little kids and, like, the elderly, like, people, like, they're just like, oh my gosh, Superman, like, can we please can we please take a picture with you? Can we please? And, like, he might not do that for everybody, but if he, like, if there's a little kid whom he just saved, or you see this in the comics in the animated series, where he inspires these other kids and they're like, Superman, you saved me. And he's like, I didn't do anything. And they're like, no, you did. Like, he's saving people by giving them hope. He's a symbol of hope. That's why the S stands for hope. Like, James Gunn doesn't understand this at all. These are just words. This is just word vomit to him. He doesn't care. And now we have, and here's the other thing, okay? Superman and Clark Kent. yes, they are. So this is we're getting into like divinity and stuff here, like the divine, I'll say it that way. So this is similar to like the Holy Trinity, where it's one God in three persons, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, right? Superman and Clark Kent, they are two beings in one person. Like, it's the same person, okay? So they're two persons, one being. But Clark Kent is not a pushover. Like, the thing is, if you stripped away Superman's powers, and we know this because we've seen it happen, he still does the right thing. James Gunn's perception is flawed because he is coming from the perception that Superman does the things he does because he's Superman. But that isn't why he does them. He is Superman because he does those things. It is innately within him. He doesn't need the powers to do the right thing. The powers just enable him to do the right thing in a way that nobody else could. That's why he isn't just a hero, he is a superhero. That is the difference. Clark Kent is a hero. He does the right thing. He respects his parents. He helps out around Smallville. He does what he needs to do. He has big dreams and big goals, but he never thought that he was better than anybody. And he is full of this humility and grace and gentlemanlike conduct. That's what separates, like, one of the biggest differences between Lex and Clark is that if Lex wants all of those powers, and if when Lex gets powers like that or gets close to powers like that, he always abuses it. He always abuses it. But Clark, who has had these powers his entire life, has not used them to subjugate Earth. He's not used them to subjugate anyone. He's always held back because he values the sanctity of life. Because he recognizes that if he allows the power that he has to control him, he will go down the same path as Lex. So Superman, him being Superman is not why he does what he does. But him being who he is, him doing the right thing regardless, is what makes him Superman. And even when he is stripped of his powers, even when he's weakened by kryptonite or by magic, or he's given up his powers, depending on what version you read, so that he can save the people that he loves, or making that greater sacrifice of himself, and never expecting or demanding that someone else make that sacrifice in his stead so that he can maintain his life or his power. That is true humility. That is what makes him a paragon, and that is something that seems to be completely lost on these modern day writers. And it's just awful the way that they are portraying him. He is coming off as a whiny teenage, wet behind the ears brat, and she is coming off as this vindictive, viper, gossip chasing columnist who doesn't actually care about the truth. She cares about her name being recognized. And that's why I say Lois is the self-insert for Gunn in this film, from what I've seen, because it is about her. It's not about the story. It's not about the truth. It's about Lois. Just like the marketing has been about James Gunn, not Superman. Let's finish this up.
Won't write that you spend your spare time trying to think up sound bites, which are terrible, by the way.
Which are terrible, by the way. She had to get that last dig in there. So that is our Lois. That isn't being sassy and playful and teasing. That is insulting and mockery and dressing Superman down and treating him like a child. That's where we're at. That's what that was. So that was that clip. Na, 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 na. Let's see if I can find it. There. Oh, this one. Here we go. So, pardon me. Lois can't go 30 seconds without insulting somebody, without insulting a man specifically. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
That haircut should be against your vows.
That what? That what should be what?
So everybody makes fun of Guy Gardner's hair. Like it's terrible in the comics. It's terrible here. It's not doing him any favors. And like, so that doesn't mean, again, James Gunn just said, I don't think I make fun of the characters. In 2 clips of marketing that came out today, your Lois has mocked two superheroes. Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern. Like, this is insane. Genuinely. I hate what we have seen so far. And then there is, let me see if I can find it. I can't, oh yeah, it's just her yelling. There's a lot of her yelling. Nope, I can't. All right. So, we're going to go, yes, I know, stop yelling. Oof. So, would you have had the impulse to make that more jokey? I'm sorry, that Guy Gardner clip was pretty jokey. Yeah, horror movies and comedies are so comforting to a filmmaker because if they're working, the audience is reacting constantly. Oh my word. Okay, but you don't like the feedback from fans. You've literally said you want the hate. And you put a scene in your movie about freaking, like you even said it there, you're getting crushed on social media. And if you think that it wasn't James Gunn speaking through Superman when he said, I don't read that stuff. Superman doesn't have time for selfies. If you think that wasn't James Gunn speaking through Superman, you have not been paying attention at all. Yeah, horror movies and comedies are so comforting to a filmmaker because if they're working, the audience is reacting constantly. Even like people crying. Ugh. People crying at the end of Guardians 3 because it was terrible. But it's also a rather selfish thing as a filmmaker. Oh, I'm glad we're admitting that we're selfish, but hold on. But I'm not making something so that I can sit in an audience and be happy. I'm making something that really works on a fundamental level. No, it doesn't. So I have to be willing to sit there with an audience and not know if they're liking it or not. Bro, it's Superman. If you had written Superman and made it about Superman, everybody would love it. They would love it. Like, this bothers me. Oh. After you temporarily got fired from Marvel for some old tweets, you said a ton of friends reached out to you and that for the first time in your life, you had a transformative experience of feeling truly loved. Okay, this is where it's gonna get very nasty, guys. There's no doubt that without that experience, I don't think that I would have written Superman that I wrote. Yep, blaming us. I definitely wouldn't be doing this job if I didn't get fired, but I don't know if I'd be doing this job even if it wasn't for that. I just don't think that a character that pure would have quite appealed to me. Bro, telling on yourself. How did that door open? I don't think that opened the door to me writing the pure Superman. That opened the door for me to stop creating so that people would like me. That's downplaying it, so people would love me. I think on some level, everything I'd done came from a pleasing place. Bro, that's still what's happening. That's still what's happening. It's literally saying that he writes because he writes for attention. He writes for vain purposes. He literally wants to be the object of people's affection. This is not a guy who you getting fired and it was temporary. Like, that was a slap on the wrist. We're going to be 100% honest. This is insane. Oh my gosh, the ego on this man. A tap dancing for the audience kind of thing? That's exactly right. Which came from that kid in a dysfunctional family trying to make everybody happy by dancing around. Bro. What? Oh my gosh. Literally, that's what my effing career was. Not in total, but it was a neediness on my part. A need to be loved. Oh my gosh, he's blaming his parents, guys. He's blaming his parents for him being a piece of trash and writing those tweets and rightfully getting fired, even though it was super temporary. They brought him back. He got to do his third movie and he got to work for DC, and now he's a co-head of a studio. That should tell you all you need to know. Oh my gosh. One of the most interesting things for me is my relationship with actors. How I got good at working with people like Chris Pratt is because he came in and I'm like, stop, you don't need to juggle. Same thing with John Cena. You don't need to juggle for the audience to like you. You're a effing movie star. Oh, nope. You just be present and be yourself and show that natural vulnerability that's a part of who you are as a human being. And that speaks to people. Bro. It's not them on screen. They are portraying a character. Star-Lord is not Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is playing Star-Lord. He fits the characteristics of Star-Lord. John Cena is not a movie star. Like, however you feel about John Cena, calling him a movie star is quite a stretch. You don't need to juggle. Yes, you do. That is what you are paid entertainers. That is what, like, trying to elevate movie stars above the rest of society is exactly why you are in the situation that you are. You have no humility and you think that you are better than all of the plebeians. Oh my gosh. Juggle. Juggle, circus boys. Juggle. That is what you are supposed to do. This is more proof that James Gunn does not love this industry. He does not love storytelling. He does not love comics. He does not love superheroes. He doesn't love or respect fans. He doesn't respect source material. He doesn't care. This is for him. This is something for him to exploit so that he said it. He's releasing anger in different ways. This is therapy for him that he gets paid for. That is what that is. So you were giving that advice, but not to yourself at that point. Really good at giving advice, but not taking it to heart in a way that was transformative, which is what the moment gave me. But again, I'm not perfect on the other side of it. It's not like I'm not still doing things to validate myself in some way. In every way, bro. Admitting to it, like, you are downplaying the hell out of this. That's still a part of me being an effing imperfect. We're doing the F-bomb a lot. Imperfect human being, but my basic life choices are not made according to that. Are not made according to what? This is more word vomit. It doesn't make sense. He was transformative, but his basic life choices are not made according to that. I don't think you understand what transformative means. I don't think you understand it at all. It's kind of a big deal. Maybe I can simplify this for you. Caterpillar to butterfly. Butterfly does not go back to being caterpillar. The transformation means no longer caterpillar. Butterfly now. I know it's called metamorphosis, but I'm attempting to give the simplest analogy that I can possibly think of. Caterpillar, butterfly. Cocoon in middle. That would be the transformative action or moment. But butterfly does not go back to being caterpillar once it is butterfly. So this is just more proof that this is more word vomit, and you haven't changed at all. Cool. Even you were initially worried about the idea of Rocket and... Oh my God, back on this. Rocket and Guardians. You said it would be like having Bugs Bunny with the Avengers. So clearly audiences needed to evolve. Yes, audiences needed to evolve. Again, just like we said at the beginning of the article, this is just like now it's audiences needed to evolve. Modern audience, writing for the modern audience. No, it's the way they want the audience to be. It is not how the audience is. And no matter what they try to do, they cannot bend reality to their will. They are not powerful. They have no power. None whatsoever. The only power these IPs and franchises have are the ones that or is the power that the fans have given it to make them the multi-billion-dollar internet intellectual properties that they are, that make it worth giving all of these people half of. You gave DC or Warner or whoever, I can't remember, it was Warner Brothers, but I think it was for DC or maybe it was just for Warner, gave JJ Abrams $500 million. And he's done nothing with it. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Zero has been done. $500 million. Over $500 million. I think it was like 600 million. That is insane. That's insane. The audience does not evolve. Timelessness, classics, standing, like those. Something is not timeless if it needs to evolve. All of these fads, all of these trends, all of these progressive ideas, they're not good. They don't speak to the human condition. They speak to the shallow, empty, vapid parts of humanity where you don't want to dig any deeper, you don't want to improve, you don't want to reach down to the bedrock and build off of a solid foundation. You want to stay with your head in the clouds, pie in the sky, never have to worry about anything and not be responsible for anyone, including yourself, because it's too hard. It's too hard. Those are always the villains in stories, the ones who try to take the shortcuts in life, the ones who want everything given to them. They think they are entitled to it. They shouldn't have to earn it. This is actually disgusting. The amount of fan hatred in this article is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Something does not become timeless. Something does not become a cornerstone of storytelling, a pantheon of storytelling, by giving into modern whims. It speaks to something deeper. It speaks to something foundational. It speaks to strength and character, honor, diligence, duty, all of these things that are apparently lost on these people. All for some clicks and some likes. Nobody is going to remember James Gunn's name in 20 years. Nobody. They're not going to remember him. They're going to remember Superman. How do I know that? Because Superman has already been around for decades. And he speaks to boys and girls, and men and women of all ages, from all countries, because he stands for truth, justice, and the American way. Not the latest trend on TikTok, and not the most hot button political item. This is not, he's trying to make it sound like he is the underdog, and he isn't. So clearly audiences needed to evolve to accept a flying dog in a movie. Bro, there have been so many that... Oh my gosh. Has anybody ever seen Beethoven? About the giant dog? Why can't I think of what kind of... Saint Bernard, Beethoven. Has anybody seen Air Bud, about the golden retriever that can play all kinds of sports? What about, let's see, Air Bud, Beethoven, Oh my gosh, the two dogs and the cat. Why can't I? Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound. Oh my gosh, that one is so good. So good. The mouse and the motorcycle. There's literally a mouse riding a motorcycle. Stuart Little, he rides a skateboard. And in a hot air balloon, I think, in Stuart Little too. The Secret of Nim. It's about the rats that, you know, are trying to defeat the owl and all. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. If you guys have never seen Secret, if you've never read it, it's a really good book. The movie is the animated film is not bad either. American Tail 5 Goes West, Fern Gully, like Redwall, oh gosh, who's the bunny rabbit in the garden? Peter Cottontail. What else? Fox and the Hound, Robin Hood, Jungle Book. My gosh, the list goes on and on and on and on. Like, this is insane. It, like, they're trying to make it seem like this is the first animal with any type of superpower or exceptional ability in any type of medium that, like, ever. I'm blown away. The Great Mouse Detective, another great one. Oh, still to this day, the best, in my humble opinion, best adaptation of Sherlock Holmes. Best adaptation. But yeah, it's just, oh yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven. What do we got over here? Vespasian, that's gross. No. Ratatouille, Watership Down. You have Saint Bernard? That's awesome. You're naming Don Bluth anime. It's because it's good. Okay. Oh yeah, Lassie. Balto, yes, Balto. The animals could talk. Like, but that's what we're saying here. Like, they are very much. This isn't studios. Audiences do not need to evolve to accept a flying dog in a movie. Oh my god, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What? Like, are you serious right now? Who is doing this interview? Whose interview is this? Hold on, let me go to the article itself over here that's cut off. Brian Hyatt. I don't know. Brian, you're dumb. You're acting dumb. I don't know if you are dumb, but you're acting very dumb. Ridiculous. You paved... No. You paved the way for audiences to evolve by having Rocket Raccoon in Guardians. What? Oh my gosh. These guys are high on their own farts. That's right. No, Gunn, this is where you should have corrected him. Rocket made the world ready for crypto. You have got to be God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, curse the things I can change I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen. What? What? He's the first. He's the first. James Gunn is the very first. Rocket Raccoon was the first animal that had any type of superpower or extra, like, was more than just an animal in any movie ever. James Gunn is a visionary and a pioneer. This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot. This is in print. This is in print. They said this out loud and then wrote it down. Oh my god. Although in a way, Crypto was way more grounded than Rocket. Get the joke? Because Crypto can fly and Rocket couldn't. He had to strap a rocket pack to his back. Though Rocket could technically fly because he flew the ship. So, because Crypto is simply a superpowered dog. Simply a superpowered dog. First of all, he's Supergirl's dog. He's not even Superman's dog. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a scene, an end credit scene. I have a feeling that's where Supergirl is going to show up. And she's going to come pick up her doggo. Because Crypto is Supergirl's dog. So Crypto is way more grounded than Rocket because Crypto is simply a superpowered dog. He's just a poorly behaved dog, which is what my dog is. See? My dog. Like, if it couldn't be directly about James Gunn himself, it's about his dog. So he's really easy and fun to write. God help us all. This movie is going to be awful. One of your big innovations here is this. Oh, I thought the innovation was that he's got Crypto in it. And the audience needed to evolve for a flying dog in a movie. And James Gunn paved the way with Rocket Raccoon. For us to, for only the second time ever in any movie, to see a dog with superpowers. Or a dog that can do more than just run around and bark. Good Lord. One of your big innovations here is the sci-fi Silver Age Superman stuff, robots, etc., that has never been in a live-action film. That's not what innovation means. That isn't what innovation means. They're doing that thing again where they just use words and they are misusing them. That's not what innovation means. Oh, I want... This is not good. This is not good. This interview's terrible. Yeah, I think that's the biggest tonally novel thing about this film. That's the biggest tonally novel thing about this film, is that it's got robots in it. Bro. What? Mr. Zaslav, this is going out to you. You are literally having to split your mega company into two. And you're shifting all of the debt over to your television studios because syndicated TV is doing bangers right now. Just so that you can get out of the billions of dollars of debt that you have. This film is going to tank your entire company so much further. This is a plea to you. Please start making business decisions and start owning up to them. Mr. Safran, you need to have a discussion with your co-head of studio, because what is being said in this interview and the tone, if we're going to go over tonality, that is coming across is one of I'll go with what I said at the beginning. A misguided soul who is in way over his head. And if you do not want to get pulled down, then please throw him a lifeline in the form of duct tape. Thank you. And it really is based off the tone of the 2000s comic book series All-Star Superman in a lot of ways. Oh, no. Oh. And taking that tone into we've used the word tone 3 times. And taking that tone into a cinematic realm is not the usual thing for a superhero movie or for any movie. Oh, guys, he's the first one to do robots too. He's the first one to do robots. Very first. Robots and a superpowered dog in a movie, guys. Gunn is innovative. He's the first. Never been done before. No robots whatsoever in any film. ever before. That was me clapping for his innovativeness. I'm going to read this really fast so you guys can hear how ridiculous it sounds with the word tone being repeated so many times. Yeah, I think that's the biggest tonally novel thing about this film, and it really is based on the tone of All-Star Superman in a lot of ways, and taking that tone into a cinematic realm is not the usual thing for a superhero movie or for any movie. So I really was thinking a lot when making the film about graphic novels more than movies. I hope that sounded utterly ridiculous. I hope that sounded utterly ridiculous. It's all about the tone, guys. It's the tone. It's not what you say. It's how you say it. Dear Lord in heaven, have mercy. Fantastic Four is coming around the same time as Superman and seems to share that Silver Age optimistic... Optimistic? Is that what he was going for in those trailers? Because that was not it. You guys saw what I saw, right? Superman bleeding in the snow, barely able to breathe, wheezing, and then Krypto has to come drag him through the snow back to his Fortress of Solitude, where the sun is now painful. Am I the only one that saw that? Just me? Didn't think so. Optimistic. They're doing that thing again. Innovative. Audiences needed to evolve to accept a flying dog in a movie. Optimistic. We're using words that we don't know the meaning of. Yes, Jose Taco, unfortunately I am. But the swelling music, Lady G, I know, right? Of the swells. The swells! The freaking guitar riff. They should just use... Just use the Superman theme. Just use it. My gosh, it's right there. It's interesting given weird times. Weird times in the world right now, that seems to be the right vibe. Bro. Brian, my man Brian, you are not an interviewer. I don't know how to tell you this. This is not hard-hitting journalism at all. You and Lois should team up. About the same. Gunn's Lois, of course. Of course. Weird times in the world right now. Yep. Maybe, but do you really think they're alike? I'm really embracing the Silver Age of it all, but I don't think that it's as stylized, or at least not as stylized in the same way. And it's not as retro. There are retro-futuristic aspects because we've got Daily Planet with a big effing globe. Again, with the F words, my dude! And the robots, the machinery. So I can see where there's certain similarities. So he just got done talking about the tone. The tone. Silver Age feel. Fantastic Four is definitely going for that retro, like that futuristic retro feeling, optimism, Silver Age. Like Brian is not asking a hard question here. He's not even asking a question. He's making a statement. And then Gunn asks the questions, but do you really think they're alike? So this man, here's the thing. He doesn't want his Superman compared to anything else. He wants it to stand on its own. And guess what, Gunn? You do not get what you want. Because Marvel's superhero film is coming out around the same time. And you have got decades of Superman lore behind you that is going to be compared to. And when we get to that part in the article where you insult every single fan of any type of genre that has ever existed, but especially of superheroes and comic books, don't worry, we'll come back to this. Like, I'm really embracing the Silver Age of it all. Yeah, sounds like it. But I don't think that it's as stylized. So you're saying that Fantastic Four has better style, but then you say at least not stylized in the same way. And it's not as retro, but there are still futuristic aspects. So you have no idea what the tone of your movie actually is. At all. Got it. So apparently the retrofuturistic aspects of this are the Daily Planet globe, the robots, and the machinery. Oh my gosh. On a story level. Oh, now we're on a story level. What cracked Superman for you? He's still waiting. Of course, it was Crypto. Oh my god. Ah! Crypto is not his dog! Oh my god. Jesus, take the wheel. Just take it from my hands. 'Cause I'm about to lose my mind. Ridiculous. It was Crypto. The beginning of the movie is the first thing I wrote. Well, you know, that the beginning tends to be a good place to start. Actually, in some of my writing classes, I know, right? I took writing classes. But it was like English writing. So I mean, this is like true structured writing. The two best places to start a story, the beginning or the end. Did you know that? The beginning or the end. Either start at the beginning so that wherever you go from there, you can always come back to your point of origin, or you start at the end and you work backwards to see how you got there. And that is incredibly difficult because that is basically building a house from the roof down. That takes no small amount of talent, but also just years and 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 years of practice and failure and improvement and accepting constructive criticism, which none of these people are capable of doing. Ridiculous. Yeah, Adiga, you've had years and 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 years of practice, and you have natural talent. Oh, Master TD, hello. Hello. Absurdity. It was Crypto. The beginning of the movies is the first thing I wrote, with Crypto coming to Superman in the snow and Crypto taking him home. So, yep, as we thought, that is the beginning of the movie. Superman bleeding out in the snow. Okay. That really was about the tone. Oh my god! The tone of the whole movie. I don't think he knows what this word means. He's just leaning super heavily on it. This is like the kid who, oh, thank you, Master of the TDS. Mwah! I hope you and Writing Raven are doing fantastic. The tone. This is the kid who waited until the night before the project was due on like a history subject that he knows nothing about, but he just remembers the word tone being used several times, so he's gonna throw it in there along with words like retrofuturistic and innovation and evolution, and then talk about himself. He's not actually talking about the show. I know he says that really was about the tone of the whole movie, but remember what he said about Crypto. Crypto was fun and easy to write because it was my dog. So now we're back down here. It was Crypto. It was his dog. It was Gunn's dog. It was Gunn's dog that cracked Superman for Gunn. And he wrote the first thing he wrote was the beginning of the movie, where his dog comes to Superman in the snow, and his dog takes Superman home. That really was the tone of the whole movie. Not Superman, Crypto. It's a flying dog who wears a cape. Whole tone of the movie is a flying dog who wears a cape. But that led immediately to the robots. Walk me through that logic. Walk me through that. How does dog and cape immediately default to robots. Dog and cape. Robots. Maybe I, as an audience member, I am just not evolved enough to accept flying dog and robots. Maybe it's me, obviously. Obviously, it's me. To the fortress rising from the ground, to the device that isn't in the comics. The giant magnifying glass. Yeah, it's because it's stupid. Which powers him up more quickly than just a regular sun would. You know what else does? When he flies up into space. Because he can do that. Did you know Superman can do that? Superman doesn't need to breathe in outer space. Now, that's another debate that we could get into, but James Gunn, in this very article, is going to say that stuff like that is stupid. Just so you know. But, foreshadowing. The giant magnifying glass, which is retarded, which powers him up more quickly than the regular sun would. You know, it was one of these things at the very... We're free to say... Hold on, guys, it's okay. I'm free to say what I need to say. Where? Everyone can speak freely. Everyone can speak freely. I'm speaking freely. Caterpillar butterfly. That's not transformative. You're still who you always have been, Gunn. Especially when you talk about your comfort zones being comedy and horror. Oh. That would explain... Oh my god, we're gonna get horror elements in this movie. Oh no. Oh no. The giant magnifying glass, which is a stupid idea. If I had been in the writer's room with you, I would have told you that that is a stupid idea. Ridiculous. It would have made more sense to have the sun bouncing off the top of the glaciers like the old Egyptian mirrors. This is ridiculous. Absolutely absurd. You are not smarter than the comic book writers, any of them. And I don't like a lot of them, but you are not smarter than any of them, Mr. Gunn. Zero. The hubris on this man, my goodness, which powers him up more quickly than just a regular sun would. Bringing all those elements into a Superman movie in a way that hasn't happened. Not to mention that he exists in a world where superheroes or some form of metahumans have existed for 300 years. It's just a different thing. Hold up. Pause. Rewind. So, the only thing that hasn't been in a Superman movie, whether live action or animated, the only thing that hasn't been in a Superman movie that you have listed off is your stupid giant magnifying glass. For good freaking reason, too. It's a stupid idea. Crypto is in the comics. There's also animated episodes. Yep, found the word. Animated episodes of Crypto. Like, robots. Oh my god. Didn't Routh's Superman fight robots? Yeah, Routh's Superman had robots in it. There's robots in the comics. There's robots in the animated series. There's robots in the Justice League. What are you talking about? Thank you. I knew I couldn't series. Like my brain was frying. He literally had his own cartoon series. Crypto. So, okay. The Crypto is not new. It's not, he doesn't even call it Crypto. It's a flying dog who wears a cape because this is James Gunn's dog. It's not actually Crypto. And so any moment that he can to actually strip the identity away of these characters, he's going to do it. And he's going to insert himself. But that led immediately to the robots, which have been in several iterations of... oh, I just got a tornado warning. Well, if my husband comes in and tells me that we have to go to the shelter, I will. Pray for us. We're getting slammed by tornadoes apparently. Tornadoes in the area. All right, see, tangents. You gotta love them. Go down so many rabbit holes. Fortress rising from the ground. That is in. Oh my gosh, that's Christopher Reeve. That's Donner Superman. That's not new either. This man is actually insane. To the device that isn't in the comics because it's stupid. The giant magnifying glass. This is here's your innovation. Your one contribution to the giant to your story is the giant magnifying glass. There's a reason it wasn't in the comics, bro. There's a reason it wasn't in the comics. Oh my gosh. The hubris on this man. Oh. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Vespasian, the glory of Rome is forever. This entire crypto thing sounds stolen from Strange Brew, where Bob and Doug McKenzie's dog, Househead, drank beer, rolled up the roof, and flew to the rescue with a cape. Bro, it kind of does. Thank you for the $10. I appreciate you. But yes, this is the reality of the situation. This is James Gunn's genius at work, folks. We must respect his vision. Bringing all those elements into a Superman movie in that way, in a way that hasn't happened. Not to mention he exists in a world where superheroes or some form of metahumans have existed for 300 years. It's just a different thing. So he's already immediately trying to tear down the importance of Superman. Metahumans have been around for 300 years. You're nothing special, Supes. You're nothing special. Oh my gosh. Eddie Murphy once told... This is Brian talking to Gunn right now. Eddie Murphy once told me that nearly every bad movie happens because of Hollywood's habit of setting a production date before they have a finished screenplay. Brian, I'm gonna say I don't believe you. Or you misunderstood Eddie Murphy, because if there is a channel, he's kind of little, not, struggling a little bit to get those views, but I have faith in him. It's just this little channel called Critical Drinker. Might have heard of him, might not have. There have been productions that have been, their screenplays are finished. They have been cast for ages. The director, the producer, everybody that started with the production stays on the production. And Drinker does this little series called Production Hell. And that is proof positive that it doesn't matter if a screenplay is finished or not. If it's badly written, it's badly written. And therefore, your project is going to suck. Because as we've seen in this decade especially, talented actors can only do so much to make up for crappy writing. There's only so much that they can do. There's only so much they can give. That they cannot correct crappy writing. Unless they write it themselves, like some actors have been doing. And then they're writing it better than the actual writers who are paid to write the shows. Where I come from, everything is a show. It doesn't matter if it's on the radio, it doesn't matter if it's a film, if it's a concert, if it's a ballet, if you're going to watch your 11-year-old niece play the violin at a recital, it's all everything is a show where I come from. So yeah, fun facts. Eddie Murphy once told me that nearly every bad movie happens because of Hollywood's habit of setting a production date before they have a finished screenplay. Maybe don't pitch ideas if you don't have a finished screenplay. Did we ever think of that? Just a thought. Yeah, totally. Yeah, what? Gunn sounds like a 14-year-old girl, honestly. In this entire interview, he sounds like a 14-year-old girl. Like, totally. Yeah, totally. The tone, the tonality, the tone of it. The transformation, transformative. Innovative. My dog. Listen. This is Gunn. We're going to be serious. Listen. You can do everything right and make a bad movie. Oh, I'm glad we're admitting that. I'm really compassionate towards people that put their all into a movie. Shouldn't you always put your all into a film, into a movie, into a project? Because if you don't, then you inherently are not doing everything right and you're setting yourself up for failure. Why is this confusing me? It's called hard work. I know some people that were my former workers at Marvel, people who made some of the worst movies. There were people that were lazy and didn't put their time in. And then there were other directors. Oh, he's specifically calling out directors. Bro, you made Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which was an absolute dumpster fire. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was slightly better, but not by much. It was a flaming trash can instead of a flaming dumpster. I'll give you that, okay? Hoy vey. There were people that were lazy and didn't put in their time. And then there were other directors that worked really hard and maybe didn't have the best movie come out, but they did everything they could. No, they didn't. Because if they did everything that they could. So here is where this is coming in. Gunn is insulting that this whole thing is an insult. Because what Gunn is saying is that they did their best, but their best wasn't good enough. So he is saying that those directors were put in a position that exceeded their capability, that exceeded their talent, that exceeded what they were able to do. They did everything they could, but they didn't have the best movie come out. He is attempting, like, what he is trying to professionally say and failing to do so is that the other directors were given projects that they weren't talented enough to handle and gave their best, but because it was outside of their ability, the movie failed. So, movies that were good, those directors were still lazy and got away with it. And the ones that were lazy and didn't put in the time, they made the worst ones. But there were some directors who worked, but they still didn't have the best movie come out. And that's because that was outside of their talent. It was outside of their capability. Meanwhile, I am the example of what you should be. Get a grip, Gunn. But they did everything they could. But I do believe that the reason why the movie industry is dying is not because of people not wanting to see movies. That is the first thing you said that I agree with. You're right. We do still want movies, just not your crappy ones. It's not because of home screens getting so good. Oh no, that has a lot to do with it. The number one reason is because people are making movies without a finished screenplay. That's the number one reason, guys. The scripts aren't finished when they go into production. And that's why the movie industry is dying. That's why people aren't showing up for films. Has nothing to do with being insulted by directors and producers and studio heads or actors and actresses who have no gratitude, who have no humility, and don't care about anything but themselves and their paycheck, and see these incredible, what should be incredible stories as vehicles for their own message, for a platform to be used and exploited, not stories to be told and inspire others. No, it's because scripts aren't getting done when they go into production. My goodness gravy. And that's one of the biggest rules you've made for DC. Bro, he's a liar, because we know for a fact that projects have gone into production with scripts weren't finished. And he tries to downplay that in other art. I don't know if it's in this one, but in other articles. He has said that we got started even though the script wasn't done. Even though this is one of the biggest rules made for DC. So here's Brian again, the crackpot journalist Brian. And that's one of the biggest rules you've made for DC, that they have to have finished scripts. Yeah, we just killed a project. Everybody wanted to make the movie. It was greenlit, ready to go. The screenplay wasn't ready. Okay, I'm going to repeat. Why are you pitching projects that aren't done? Why? Why are you pitching projects that aren't finished? This is the Citadel insanity all over again when Jennifer Salke walked in and literally just BS'd a project so that she could get the directors, she could get the showrunner she wanted, and literally made Citadel up on the spot. And it was an absolute hack job, and it looked like it on screen. Why are you pitching projects that aren't finished? This is not audience's fault. We do not need to evolve. We do not need to grow. We do not need to modernize our sensibilities. You assholes need to figure it out that, yes, you do need to freaking juggle there, James Gunn. You do need to juggle. You are not in this for you. You are not writing private films for you to screen with your friends in your mansion that nobody else is going to see. This is for the public audience. Dance, juggle, jump through the freaking hoops. Every single project, you have to reprove yourself. Because there's no more goodwill left. There's none remaining. There is zero goodwill from any fandom anywhere in the world right now for any project. There's no goodwill for Harry Potter. There's no goodwill for Star Wars. There's no goodwill for Marvel. There's no goodwill for DC, especially not you, James Gunn, who ripped the rug out from underneath DC fans multiple times, lied, misdirected, misguided, just flat out blatantly lied about stuff. Terrible freaking human being. And then when a decision was already made, a decision that fans rallied behind, you took that from them. Everybody wants to give grief to Michael Bay and be like, no, we would never want to see a Superman film from Michael Bay. Yes, I freaking would. Go back at the first if we get Transformers 1 Michael Bay, or we get, like, hey, I love Armageddon. Sue me. Michael Bay can do it. And if there's one thing you can say about Michael Bay that you definitely cannot say about James Gunn, Michael Bay actually loves this country. You know that because everything has explosions and American flags everywhere. Everywhere. And for anybody that's like, oh, Superman, it's Superman, there shouldn't be explosions like all over the place. There shouldn't just be giant boom booms going off everywhere. My dude. If that is if your biggest complaint is the fact that there are too many explosions, and it isn't that he has fundamentally undermined the character that is Clark Kent and Superman and the paragon that he is, if your complaint isn't that he has been disrespectful to the source material, if your complaint isn't that Lois is an insufferable hag who is going after a juicy gossip piece and not the truth, which completely undermines the entire character of who she is and what she stands for and why both Clark and Superman respect and love her, if those aren't your complaints, and the fact that Lex Luthor, I love Holt as an actor in most, I do. I think he's very talented. I don't know if it's the camera, I don't know if it's the angle, I don't know what it is. He looked like trash in that last trailer. It was not good. If your biggest complaint is the fact that there are too many explosions, honest to God, that will probably be the best Superman that we have seen since Christopher Reeve. Definitely since Donner. We would have gotten, we would have gotten the Superman theme. We would have. That's not even a question. Good Lord. Give me Michael Bay directing a Superman film. I'll take it. But that's what Gunn robbed people of. The fans were all for it. The fans were behind it. The fans would have supported it because, by God, Michael Bay can absolutely make an optimistic. Again, go back to the first Transformers, even the second Transformers. I like most of the Transformer films. I like them. Armageddon, big fan. I like Armageddon. Armageddon is even in the one of my intro fits that I shared. So I love that movie. But so maybe that's slightly biased, but I honestly don't know anybody. Yeah, people like make fun of it and stuff. But I honestly can't think of anybody that is like, oh my gosh, Armageddon, I hate that movie. I really don't. I think it's actually a cool idea. Blue collar workers, blue collar drillers, oil field guys have to go up into space and because they're the ones that have the expertise on how to deal with stuff like that with drilling to the center of stuff. It's just I don't understand why that movie gets any kind of hate from anybody. I liked Six Underground, or Underground 6, whatever that was. He did Black Sails, didn't he? I know he did 13 Hours. That's one of my favorites. I didn't like his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie very much. But that's because I'm biased and I like the 1991 the best. Oh, and he did it's another superhero one, but he's they have to kill them in order that they get their powers. 4. I Am Number 4. I Am Number 4. I actually like that movie. I like The Island. Right, The Island was Michael Bay, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, legitimately, that's a lot of projects from him that I actually enjoy. That I can think of. So, I mean, I don't know. Didn't he do Bad Boys? Yeah, he did Bad Boys. I'm not crazy. I'm going through in my head. Oh my gosh, why don't I just... All right, see? Tangent. Here we go. Hold on, I'm going to hide this just in case, because we all know... Oh, Lord. No. We don't want me blown up on the screen. Hold on. I know we hate IMDb, but we're gonna use them anyway. Michael Bay movies. Oh my gosh, 28 years later is all over everything. Okay, here we go. Oh, you guys can't see it. Here we go. Okay, so this is producer credits. Let's do director credits. Never heard of it. Oh, look, yep, Six Underground. Transformers, 13 Hours, like a Soldiers of Benghazi. This is one of my favorite films. Oh, he did Pain and Gain. I didn't mind that movie either. Transformers, Victoria's Secret. Oh, there's gonna be pretty ladies in it. Victoria's Secret. Transformers, The Island. I was right. Lionel Richie collection. He did Bad Boys 2 as well. So he did Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. Armageddon. Aerosmith, Falling in Love. He's got music. I forgot he did The Rock. I forgot he directed The Rock. Guys, give me a Superman film directed by Michael Bay. I will take it straight into my veins. Straight into my veins. Does anybody need magnesium? Meatloaf. I love Meatloaf. Cotton Milk. Shadows and Light. Look at all of his music director credits. Tina Turner. Scrolling past the lady. Whoa, my goodness, lots of Tina Turner. House of Lords, Great White Congo Square, Brittany Fox, Styx, Tyler Collins, Louie, Vanilla Ice, Play the Funky Music. Oh my gosh, look at this. I am even more upset with James Gunn right now that he took that away from us. He took that away from us. Remember that, folks. Oh, Adiga, thank you. ADG rants are not just informative, but a heck of a good time. Oh, thank you for that. Sorry, it is called The Tangent. This is an aptly named show. I liked Pearl Harbor. My mom and my sister like it a lot more than I do. But there are definitely parts of it that I really enjoy and I really, really like. But again, all of those things, James Gunn clearly loves America and what it stands for, and he respects troops and sacrifice, and he knows how to write a freaking hero. Yeah, I forgot about The Rock. I forgot he did that. But no, it's because Hollywood, the movie industry is dying because scripts aren't finished. The screenplay wasn't ready, and I couldn't do a movie where the screenplay is not good. Okay, so that's not the same thing as not finished. Not good and not finished are not the same thing. And we've been really lucky so far because Supergirl's script was so effing good off the bat. And then Lanterns came in and the script was so effing good. Can you find another adjective? Clayface, same thing, so effing good. No, we're sticking with effing good. That's his scale. So is it just effing good and effing bad? Like, is that it? Oh no, sorry, not good. So we have effing good and not good. That's what we have. It's quite the range for a co-head of an entire studio to have. Good job. Good. That's quite. I enjoy the range of adjectives that we've used. Not good and effing good. That's what we've got. Clayface got cast today. Never heard of the guy, but he's got freaking chiseled jawline. Supergirl script wasn't finished when it showed up, so I reiterate, not good, not the same thing as not finished. So we have these scripts that we've been really lucky with, or wise in our choices, or whatever the combination is. My guy. Wisdom, I would not, you know what? Wisdom has been chasing you, but you have always been faster, sir. Always. That has not changed. No caterpillar to butterfly with this. You've written hundreds of pages of material recently between the Creature Commandos animated show, which is just a self-insert James Gunn show. Peacemaker. Oh, yes, right, because John Cena is a movie star. Apparently. Peacemaker Season 2 and Superman. Do you ever worry about exhausting the well? No, because he's a one-trick pony. Seriously, go watch Creature Commandos. It's just Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just Guardians of the Galaxy. Peacemaker is literally just The Boys light. It's James Gunn's version of The Boys. That's all Peacemaker is. That's it. I am not even kidding. And not the good season of The Boys. Do you ever worry about exhausting the well? There's no well to exhaust. Look, we've seen his range. Not good, effing good. That's it. That's what we got. That's how deep the well is there, Brian. That's how deep it is. Even if you skate across that pond and it cracks, don't worry, your ankles aren't going to get wet. If I do, then I'll go raise goats. You should go raise goats. You should. Go on. I'm not stopping you. Nobody's stopping you. Go raise some goats. You should go raise some goats. No, because then the other things that depend on you for, life and sustenance are going to be at your mercy. And I am very scared at what you would do with that type of power. Because we've seen what you do with Superman's power in your hands. You'll fumble it. So, maybe leave the goats alone. Maybe leave the goats alone. If I do, then I'll go raise goats. I really am fine. It's fine, guys. I'm fine. I'm fine. There's a lot of directors who get worse as they get older. Yes, and I don't want to do that. Too late. Or maybe I do. I don't know. It's already happened. Don't worry. You don't even have to think about it. You're already there. It's like, if it runs out, it hasn't so far. But who knows? There was never any there to begin with. So it's hard to run out of something you never had. I'm just saying. Just saying. You said you feel like you were able to be creative without fear now, because you were fearful before at Marvel, who gave you multiple projects, even after firing you. You said you feel like you were able to be creative without fear now, but at the same time, you gave yourself permission to be pretty creative from early on. You were working in all of these different mediums. You gave yourself permission to be pretty creative. This is literally the hero's journey. I'm stealing from Gary. This is the hero's journey. This is the male feminist journey. He was always great. He just needed to give himself permission to let everybody else see how great he actually is. What a dunce. I had comic strips published everywhere. That was really what I thought I was going to do when I was younger. I wanted to be like Berkeley Burthead from Bloom County. Although I was also really playing music at the same time, so who knows? I wanted to be a rock star, but at the same time, I liked the idea of having my character on bed sheets and stuff. Are you hearing this? This is all about him. I wanted my face here. I thought that's what I wanted to be, like this from Bloom County, who was getting all of the adoration and the love. But I was also playing music because I wanted to be a rock star, because I wanted the fame, because I wanted the adoration. He is chasing adoration, not, oh, I got another one. Must be serious. Uh-oh. I might have to go. I wanted to be a rock star, but at the same time, I liked the idea of having my characters on bed sheets and stuff. I just was searching for a way to be noticed and make money. This is probably the most honest he has ever been. I really wanted to make a living as an artist, and then of course I wanted to be famous and all of those things. So I really was just trying whatever. He's literally admitting he doesn't care about any of this stuff. He is using it to get famous. That's all he wants. That's all he wants. And for me, the whole secret was finishing whatever I started. That's not a secret. That's not a secret. I'm confused. Finishing what you start is like the bare minimum. Literally the bare minimum. It did feel like I had a bunch of half projects out there until I was in my mid-20s. Oh my goodness. Was that linked to getting sober? You finishing projects? No, that was sort of a faith thing. When I was in school for writing, I had 51 chapters of novels, and then at a certain point, I just had the realization, which was in the form of a spiritual awakening, which was just to finish what you start. Bro. I don't know James Gunn's backstory, but I know he has siblings, and I'm fairly certain he had both parents. I don't know that for a fact. Nobody in his entire life ever told him to finish what he started. Never a coach or a teacher or a father figure of any sort. Again, his spiritual realization is the bare minimum of like human existence. Finish what you start. You had that revelation. We're using words again that don't equate to what's being said. You had that revelation while you were ghostwriting a book with Troma Studios co-founder Lloyd Kaufman, right? Oh, Lloyd Kaufman is way more talented than I'll ever be. That's exactly what it was. I was writing the book for Lloyd, and I wanted to quit because it was effing killing me. And I didn't have a small ego, and I felt I was doing a lot of things for trauma, and I didn't feel like I was getting any respect for it. So again, he wasn't getting what he thought he was entitled to. He didn't get what he wanted, so he wanted to quit. That's not finishing what you start. That's not finishing what you start. At all. That's being an entitled prick. And now I'm ghostwriting something that I thought was hilarious. And the more I was writing it, and the funnier I thought it was, the more resentful I was becoming. Yeah, because you don't have any sense of gratitude. My power might give out, guys, so I will apologize if that happens. So I talked to Lloyd about, I think I gotta stop, which was crazy because I got paid money to do it. Yeah, it's called a job, James. A lot of this is really ungrateful of me. I'm glad you reckon, but that's the thing. They always say, what is that? Admitting you have a problem is half the battle. No, it's not. That's not half the battle. That's like a drop of the battle. Oh my goodness. A lot of this is really ungrateful of me. Yes, it is. I'm not saying this in any good way. Oh, he's just saying it wrong. He isn't, he's speaking from the heart. Remember, this is heartfelt. And so, because it's heartfelt, it's very emotional. And so he's not saying it in a good way. So this is not good, right? It's not effing good, so it must be not good, right? Okay. I'm not saying this in any good way, but I'm effing driven. Oh, so he wasn't saying this in a good way. He's saying that he's driven, and that's not a good, not in a good way. So he's driven, effing driven, but not in a good way. In any good way. I don't think you're driven. You're not driven. You're thirsty for fame. You want fame. You want adoration. That's what you want. You are an adoration seeker. That's not being driven. That's called pride. That's called hubris. Excessive pride. And that's when I had that awakening. Again, we're using these words. Awakening, revelation, transformative, innovation. None of them mean anything that's being spoken about. They're not just that. It's not Gunn, that's for sure. Which was to finish what you start. Oh God, he's just repeating himself now. And it's not, this isn't mind-blowing information. Every dad, every grandpa tells their sons and grandsons this. They also tell it to their daughters. I know, because this was told to me repeatedly by my mom, by my dad, by my grandma, by my grandpa, by my aunts, by my uncles, by my cousins, by my coaches, by my teachers, by my drill instructors. But he had this epiphany in his 30s. Right? Epiphany, awakening, revelation, whatever. And so then I went back and I finished the book. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. My bet is that you weren't going to get paid if you didn't finish it. But who knows? I still hated doing it. Okay. I can list off a litany of jobs that I've hated doing, but guess what? Still had to do them. Still happens to this day. It's called life, James. It's called life. It's called being an adult. It's called being a productive member of humanity, of society, of whatever you want to say. Not community. Definitely not. We're not using that commonly. Okay. No. It's just called being a productive adult. Good Lord. But the minute that happened, my life changed within weeks. So is he saying he didn't finish anything before then? So he didn't finish anything before then, and now one of his biggest rules is that everything has to be finished before it goes into production. Except for Supergirl, because it was so effing good. Like, we know those scripts weren't finished. So why are you lying? I cannot even. And so then I went back and I finished the book. I still hated doing it. But the minute that happened, my life changed within weeks. Literally within weeks. Because that's when I wrote the 2000 indie film, The Specials. And finished that. And instantly, everything happened. Imagine that. Imagine that. You put in the work. I've never heard of this indie film. And quite frankly, I've seen your finished work and I'm not impressed either. So why you're getting all these accolades, I mean, nepotism, but I didn't care. I didn't care. You've talked about moments of almost spiritual visions, dear Lord. Not quite like the ones in your film Super, but pretty similar. Pretty intense. Pretty overall encompassing. That's it. Bro, you haven't been able to shut up about yourself, but now you're going to talk about spiritual visions were pretty overall encompassing and pretty intense. Well, okay, to be fair, we've added new adjectives, and our scale has grown from just not good and effing good to pretty intense and pretty overall encompassing. And finish what you started was in that category 1,000%, because 100% is not good enough. That one was what kept me awake for. That one was long. That was the most intense ever. Oh, so these spiritual visions are you talking to yourself. That tracks. It's you talking to yourself in your own head or in the mirror, perhaps. Narcissus, maybe? For those of you that don't know, you can go look up ancient pagan gods. Narcissus is the one who fell in love with himself. And depending on the story that you read, he either starves to death in front of a mirror or he drowns in a pool of water. It doesn't end well for Narcissus. It doesn't tend to end well for narcissists either. Just saying. So the spiritual vision that was pretty intense and overall encompassing was himself telling himself to finish what he started. Oh my God. What did you experience? What did you see? I mean, it's long, but my whole life is based on that effing whatever that was. What? What? Your whole life is based on a vision that you had in your late 20s, early 30s? I have no clue how long it was. Well, it lasted several years. That's pretty long, I will say. Maybe it was an hour, maybe it was 7 hours. But yeah, it was really just aligning a lot of the things I believed about myself, about finishing what you start, about it's not my business whether people think of my stuff. My business is doing what I do, and that's it. Bro, you're in entertainment. If people don't like what you're selling, you're not going to make money. So this was you self-affirming yourself for 7 hours. This is literally the hero's journey. This is the male feminist journey. He's always been great. He just had to realize that he was great by telling himself how great he was. It was my faith in God, which is a big part of who I am. And yet at the same time, I don't think God really cares whether you believe in him or not. Oh my, what? First of all, way to not capitalize God's pronouns. I thought you people cared about that stuff. So it was your faith in God, which is a big part of who you are, and yet you don't think that God cares whether or not you believe in him? You've got to be insane. But I heard finish what you start. Oh, good. Okay. So I heard finish what you start. That was like hearing the voice of God as it was completely outside of myself. So was he talking and it echoed back to himself and he thought it was the voice of God? This is utterly insane. That's just pure evil. That is pure evil. How could you possibly have faith in God? How could you claim to have faith in God and it be a big part of who you are? And then in the next breath, the next thing out of your mouth is that you don't think God really cares whether you believe in him or not. That's not at all true. God will exist whether you believe in him or not, but any Christian, especially Catholics, which James Gunn is not Catholic, but any Christian who knows anything about God knows that the one thing God truly desires, the reason he gave us free will, is because love without free will is not true love. And he wants us to love him because he loves us, not because he's forcing us to love him. That is insane on its face. Of course he cares if we believe in him. What is this insane? This is your writer and director of Superman, folks. This is your writer and director of Superman. DC, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. Are they aware that Superman is a heavy allegory for Jesus Christ? It's, yeah, weird. We're using that word. This is like the third time we've used the word weird. Tonally, tonal, the tone, guys. It's the tone. The tone. The tone. We just need to evolve for the tone. It's weird. Weird that you haven't evolved for the tone, guys. It's weird that you had a lot of artistic outlets and it wasn't clear which one was going to pop off. So he was literally just... It was like a ping pong ball. He was just waiting to hit the right thing at the right time to get noticed so that he could burn whatever it was down around him. Exploit whatever it was that he needed to exploit so that he could burn it down around him. He'd be the only one, and then he'll walk away with money and let everybody else deal with the ashes. Unbelievable. It's weird that you had a lot of artistic outlets and it wasn't clear which one was going to pop off. That's not a question, Brian. That's totally true. My goodness, James. That's totally true. And at the end of the day, I think what I like the best is directing. Yeah, because you like to control people. Duh. Because I like the right brain part of it a lot. Oh, careful, James. Careful. You're going to get canceled. I like the puzzle part of it. That's not what you like about it. I like shooting action. Debatable. That, maybe you like shooting it, but you're not good at it. That's like my favorite thing to like do. Like, but yes, I added some of those likes. But yes, I never really saw myself as one thing. I just saw myself as an entertainer, for sure. And yet I am not entertained. I am not entertained. When you took on Spy vs. Spy and then Scooby-Doo, was that in any way a sellout movie in your mind? No. I don't even think like that. If I didn't want to write those things, then yeah, it would have been a sellout movie. What? No, I didn't even think like that. If I didn't want to write those things, then yeah, it would have been a sellout movie. Oh, a sellout move. Bro, you sold out way before this. But I wanted to write them. I was excited by the ideas. Really excited. I loved Scooby-Doo as a little kid. I loved him. I still love Scooby, so that was exciting to me. What? Okay, so because he wanted to write Scooby-Doo, it wasn't a sellout move. But even if he didn't want to write them, he still would have. So how do we know that he's telling the truth currently? This is very much, this reads like someone, again, this is just word vomit. It's interesting that the guy who wrote The Toy Collector about someone's messed up attachment to the icons of their childhood then takes on Scooby-Doo and eventually Superman. Oh, I forgot about The Toy Collector. If there was ever a quintessential story that tells you what James Gunn thinks of anybody who is over the age of 10 that still loves stories told through the medium of superheroes, it would be The Toy Collector. Oh yeah, I guess so. I love bringing reality to things that I loved as a kid and saying, okay, if this was real, if Scooby-Doo was real, if Superman was real, if Rocket Raccoon was real, how would that be? How would they be real? Well, I have some great news for you, James. There is source material that can tell you that. I relate to Lex more than I wish I did. He's just meaner than me. Debatable. In the Superman trailer, we see that Lois already knows Clark is Superman, so you bypass one of the stickiest issues. How does Lois not see past the glasses? Oh, here we go. It comes up again later in the movie, and it's explained. She says it, we mention it, and it's a one-off, and people chuckle. But there's stuff later in the movie about the glasses that are canon. That's canon in the comics. There's a controversial 70s issue of the comic book where it shows that Superman basically uses super hypnotism to change people's perception of him in the glasses. It was an idea sent in by a fan that has been mostly ignored since. Something like that. Knew it. I only know it from DC comic writer Tom King. No. The first time we met was at Peter Safran's house. We had this sort of writers group come in. One of those people was Tom King, and he was the most helpful. I'm like, I just don't know how to effing deal with the glasses thing because it bothers the F out of me. So eloquent, James. All that little stuff that people are like, it's a fantasy, just let it go. I'm like, no, I have to explain everything. And this is why you fail, James Gunn. Everything for me has to come from a place where I believe it. Where I believe it. Not the audience. Where I believe it. As outlandish as it is. With Rocket, I could not just make it a talking raccoon. It had to have a real foundation for where he came from and how he came to be. And I needed to believe that. I needed to believe that. Not the audience. Not the fans. Him, James Gunn, specifically. I am telling you, Marvel was happy to let Gunn go to DC and implode it. What were some of the other things you felt needed to explain to make this Superman work? There are things that I know I don't explain that I don't even want to say out loud. Isn't that being a hypocrite? Okay. But I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. Oh, here we go. I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see the online things, who would be whom, Homelander or Superman or effing whatever, Adam Warlock or Brightburn, and I'm like, this is the effing stupidest effing conversation. Like, so then whoever would win this fight means that they're the best? Because I'll just go out and write God-Man who can destroy you with a wink, and I win. I win all the fights forever. But I didn't want a Superman who could punch planets. And also, we're creating a whole universe now. So what's a girl with wings gonna do in the face of that? So he's a little less powerful. Green Lantern, Guy Gardner's pretty effing powerful. Well, there we are with, now we're at pretty effing powerful. Not just pretty, they're all pretty powerful. So you have pretty powerful and pretty effing powerful. This is James Gunn talking, Charlie. I just looked over at the chat. This is James Gunn speaking. Yes, Tom King is a hack writer. Correct. Yes, both. It literally could be either one of them saying this. But yeah, this is James Gunn saying that fan debates are stupid. Fan debates are stupid. And that it doesn't matter what fans think. And that it's a waste of time. And the cope on Twitter, or X, sorry, the cope on X about this, when I posted this excerpt and highlighted the parts, are like, well, you know, Stan Lee basically said the same thing. No, he didn't. What Stan Lee said was, ultimately, he loves the fan theories, but the writer decides who wins. So you can have fans that know all of the lore, all of the backstory, and can like go toe to toe and have all of these debates, but ultimately the writer does decide who wins that fight. And that's not, but that, yes, that is true. The writer will ultimately decide who wins which fights. But Superman, even if, like, Superman did not win every single fight. And for good reason. Like, oh, this is just, I loathe this so entirely. This is Gunn spitting in the face of every fan who has ever spent any time in a comic book shop, who's ever spent any time at a convention, who's ever read comic books, read graphic novels, watched the animated series, watched the live action films, have collected anything. That the toy collector is literally about letting stuff go from your childhood. And so Gunn is apparently under the impression that he needs to blow up everyone's childhood. Goodness. Honestly, in talking to people, a lot of people are like, I like Batman better because he can actually be beat. And I get that. That is not what people say about Batman. What people are you talking to? Liar. Liar. That's a flat out bald-faced lie. I am calling that out right here and now. That is not true. That is not why people love Batman. What the actual ever-loving flippity-flap are you talking about right now, James Gunn? This is so disingenuous. This is such bull honky. I literally, genuinely despise this trap right now. I like Batman better because he can actually be beat. That is not why people love Batman. You are insane. You are a liar. So we have a Superman that can be beat. No, nobody said that about Batman. Zero. Batman and Superman are different stories. They are different characters. They have different ethos. There is literally a point in time where Batman does something like, oh my gosh, Batman literally gives up he sacrifices his code, his morals, to do something so that Superman doesn't have to. And later, when Superman asks Batman about it, Batman says, it's because we need you to still be Superman. God give me strength. The real God, not the fake one that James apparently has faith in but doesn't think really cares one way or another if we believe in him or love him back. Good night. There are people who've been saying the whole future of the studio might be riding on this movie. How do you work in the face of that kind of pressure? Really, I just go, that's their business. Because that's not the truth for me. My truth, okay guys, self-affirmation time again. Gunn's truth, my truth, that's not me. My truth means I'm lying to myself. This is everything that comes after this statement is pure denial. Pure unadulterated denial. There is no such thing as my truth. There is only the truth and not the truth. My truth is this is the first movie out of DC Studios, bro. You can't just cut out decades of storytelling and film and animated cartoons, animated movies. One of the best movies ever made is Batman and the Mask of the Phantasm. One of the best movies ever made. You cannot simply this is literally, we are being unburdened by what has been. We are unburdening ourselves of what has been to fulfill what could be. That's what this trash is. Other people may say it's got to be a home run, nothing else. I'm like, no, I'd be very happy with a double. Bro, it's Superman. Effing Iron Man. Again, Iron Man wasn't the be-all, end-all. Yes, it was! It spawned MCU, you stupid prick! Why is he needs to stop talking. He needs to stop talking. Cause all he's gonna do is piss people off. it's got to be a home run, nothing else. And I'm like, no, I'd be very happy with a double. What? Iron Man wasn't the be-all, end-all. Yes, it was. It wasn't Avatar. What does that have to do with anything? Avatar is not the be-all, end-all. For some reason, it still makes $2 billion, but nobody remembers it. I definitely stole that from other people, but it's true. We are doing something that's a piece of the puzzle. No, bro. No, this is not a grander puzzle. This is the entire kit and caboodle. This isn't a puzzle at all. This is everything. 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 It's not the puzzle itself, bro. Oh my god. He doesn't even know. He either doesn't know or does not appreciate what he actually has. That's where we're at. We have Peacemaker. Yeah. Yep. We have Supergirl. So Peacemaker and Supergirl. And what we want to do is make a movie that people love and they feel connected to the characters. It's just this one movie. It's not everything. But it is everything. It is literally everything. Because if you can't get a grand slam with Superman, you're not even going to get you're not even going to get a single on anything else. Anything else. I hate it when there's an effing article and it's going on about, I hate this article. Oh my gosh. I hate it when there's an effing article and it's going on about all the problems and blah, 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 blah. Bro! Oh my gosh. Somebody come get your boy. Get your boy, take him home. He's cooked, he's fried, he's done. He's out. Remember when he was like, what happens when that well goes dry? I'm just going to go raise goats. Go raise the goats, James. I take it back. Go raise the goats. They need you, James. The goats need you to raise them. Superman does not need you. At all. I hate it when there's an effing article and it's going on about all the problems and blah, 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 blah. And that means even more pressure on James Gunn and Superman. I'm like, guys, I'm not responsible for all that. Yes, you are! You are the co-head of the studio! Are you unaware of what your job is? How are you not realizing this? I would be so incredibly nervous if I was David Zaslav and Peter Safran right now. I would be having what was it? Da 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 da. I would be having spiritual visions that are really, really intense right about now. If I was David Zaslav and Peter Safran. Oh my gosh. That just came out of the co-head of the studio's mouth. I'm not responsible for all that. I'm responsible for my piece of the pie. I've got to make my budget back. I'll be very happy with that. Co-CEO of DC Studios says he's not responsible for the future of the projects he's directing and hand-picking. Oh my god, DC, you're in so much trouble. David Zaslav, you really should just consider golden parachuting, like, right now. Run, bro. Just run. Boot, scoot, boogie. I mean it. Just get out while you can. Oh my goodness. What? You also cannot split planet. You also cannot split planets, is what you're saying. I cannot split planets, not that I know of. Oh, look, he's finally admitted to something that he can't do. He cannot split a planet. Oh, so because you can't split a planet, Superman can't split a planet. That's what we're saying. You're placing your limitations onto Superman because your ego can't handle it. My goodness. McApee, thank you for being here. Go get your daughter. Thank you. Please don't let her listen. I'm trying to bleep out the curse words, but my word, James Gunn is terrible. He said the F word like 4 times in one sentence, I think, 3 or 4. Over at Marvel, they've been pretty open about the fact that they realized what's gone wrong over the past few years. They put out too much stuff. That's not a question, Brian! And longtime Marvel executive producer Louis D'Esposito said that privately to me. I don't even know if it's really their fault. Yes, it is. When you're a yes man in Hollywood, it's your fault. They were under a corporate mandate, yeah. That's also, Brian, that's not a question. That's another statement. That wasn't fair. It wasn't right. And it killed them. I promise you that if Marvel had put out exceptional, and I do mean exceptional storytelling, things that transcended the just shallow, superficial things that people see in their day-to-day lives, and really actually dealt with the human condition and those themes. Maybe you've heard that word too, James. Those themes that are timeless for a reason. Maybe if they focused on telling great stories instead of chasing tiny little golden idols, they wouldn't be where they are today. But the fact is, they did. And now here they are. And it is 100% their fault. 100%. Watching that, especially after being involved, are there lessons to be taken on your end? Well, he clearly didn't take any of them because he's about to repeat all of them and then some. That's where he's going to be innovative. There's no doubt. We have to treat every project as if we're lucky. We're just using words again now, James. We're lying, straight lying. This whole article was about how you are an ungrateful prick and you literally hate and despise comic books and superheroes and the people that made them the multi-billion-dollar IPs that are the reason you even have a job. I digress. We don't have the mandate to have a certain amount of movies and TV shows every year, and yet you are churning them out in rapid succession. It's going to be ow. It's going to be rapid fire. What's coming? So we're going to put out everything that we think is of the highest quality. Bro, I've seen the CGI of this film. If that is the highest quality, we're in trouble. We're obviously going to do some good things and some not so good things. Oh, so now instead of not good, it's not so good. And instead of effing good, it's just some good. This is just sad. But hopefully on average, hope is not... I'm going to repeat what many other YouTubers have said, but it is the truth. Hope is not a strategy. You shouldn't be hoping that on average everything will be as high quality as possible. You are the co-CEO of the DC Studios. When you say highest quality as possible, what you should be referring to, what you should be referencing is the best that technology has to offer. Not a hope and a prayer that people will put on 3D glasses and suddenly ignore the very crappy bubble eye nonsense going on. Nothing goes before there's a screenplay that I personally am happy with. Bro. James, your specific proclivities, they're not the highest quality. You said we could speak freely. I am being honest with you. Utterly ridiculous. How can something be of the highest quality possible and still not be so good? If you're hoping for an average of everything will be as high of quality as possible. Everything hurts so much. Sitting on the table here is a Superman-Spider-Man crossover comic book from the 70s. At some point, it feels like it's going to happen in the movies, doesn't it? Maybe it's 10 years from now. You have to get this first one out. You have to get... Your first Superman has to be successful. Put out a successful film first. How are you even considering 10 years down the road? Pride cometh before the fall, sir. Pride cometh before the fall. Oh my gosh. We've talked about it a billion times. That could easily happen. We're using words we shouldn't again, James. Words have meaning. That could easily happen. But simultaneously to that, I think it would be interesting. Why could something easily be happening, not still be interesting? Like, what? This is just word vomit again. But I also think people are a little over it. I'm over crappy comic book stories. I would love an exceptional Superman story. Did you hear what I said? Exceptional? Not a mostly good or some good. Exceptional. This movie better be a 9.85555 repeating. Oh my gosh. And they want to see different types of stories with their superheroes. Okay. But I also think people are a little over it. I think people want to see good stories, yes, with their superheroes, and that's what matters. Okay, you said the right words, but your next, like, everything that is surrounding those words doesn't match up with those words at all. And they want to see different types of stories with their superheroes. No, I just want them done well and correctly and not insulting myself and the characters. And people love superheroes. Yeah. That's obvious, but they need more variety. No! Oh! This is not the Pizza Hut buffet where you get the pizza that has one slice of all the different kinds. Just give me a classic pepperoni with extra cheese and a perfect crust. That's what I want. That's what I want. I am dead serious when I say that exceptional food and exceptional stories can change the world. I don't need variety. Just give me the best pepperoni pizza that has ever existed. By honoring what came before and using your Nona's secret family recipe from her great Nona. That's what I want. I want recipes that have stood the test of time, that I know are going to work, that melt in your mouth and make your soul sing. That's what I want. I do not need anchovy heads with pineapple on 3 different kinds of cheese and a cauliflower crust. Get out of here with that trash. trash. I don't want it. I don't need it. It's terrible. I don't even need to taste it to tell you that my taste buds will literally pack up and leave my tongue the second that I even pick a slice of that up, because they want no part of that trash. That is where we're at. Do not give me your cauliflower crust, vegan sauce, anchovy head, pineapple doused, 3 types of vegan cheese BS. I don't want it. I know what I want. I am actually a sentient, intelligent human being and am capable of communicating what I want. And what you're trying to sell me, that ain't it. It ain't it. I will go, oh my gosh, my Nona's poor soul is in her grave right now, begging to climb up and beat you over the head with a wooden spoon. And then she'll give you a cookie, but she's still going to beat you with a wooden spoon. Not hard, it's love taps. You'll be fine. Oh, I don't know, maybe you don't have any IQ points to spare. Brian definitely doesn't. Good Lord. And they need just more quality storytelling. But only the stories you like. Only the stories that you want. Not what fans want. Not what paying customers are telling you they want. What you want. Because this is for your ego. Your platform. This is complete. For a guy that just said, I'm not responsible for all of that. And then to say that nothing goes before there's a screenplay that you are personally happy with, pick a lane, bro. Either you aren't responsible for it, or every screenplay is one that you are personally happy with. Pick a lane. You do not get both. And just having Spider-Man and Superman team up isn't going to do it if it's poop. Again, you're saying the words, but you don't mean it. We know this because of everything else said in this article and what your work has shown us. You don't want your Superman compared to anything else. That's why you pulled a freaking Disney Star Wars, a Disney Lucasfilm, and you freaking decanonized everything else that came. That's why it's now DC Studio, and this is the first film from DC Studio. You are literally severing ties from everything that came before. The incredible stories, the music, the paying customers, the fans, the goodwill that has been built up over decades. You, sir, you are responsible for severing that. That is what you just did. That is what you wanted, and that is what you got. You do not get to play with both sides of the fence. You don't get to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. This isn't the hokey pokey. You committed. You cut everything else off. You are the one that did away with everything before. This is 100% on you. So it's got to come from a real place, and it's really hard to make that work. No, it's not. You literally have the comic book in front of you. What are you talking about? The work is already done. The work's already done. You're not smarter. You are not smarter than any of these writers. Zero. None of them. You're not smarter. You don't have anything new to say. You don't have anything groundbreaking. You don't have any revelations. You don't have any spiritual experiences. You have the regurgitated, fermented ego that you have been spewing on everyone for decades and demanding that they love you for it. I did Superman because I love the character. No, you didn't. You loved what you thought the character could do for you. And I was excited about writing that movie. That's not what you said earlier. If I were to write a Superman versus Spider-Man movie, is it a concept I'm going to be like, oh yeah, this could be a great film? Or am I doing it because, oh yeah, people want to see Superman and Spider-Man team up? For me, it would have to be, if we ever did that, it would have to be under someone who thought it was going to be awesome and wasn't just a cash grab, because I'm just not into that. You lying little misguided soul. I'm going to keep going back to that one. You utterly misguided soul. You're supposed to write for other people. Yes, you start out with the story that you want to tell. That's when you are building something original. Superman has been around for decades. This isn't on you to try and decide what people get to what people get to listen to, what stories. It's not up to you to decide what fans should want. The fans are telling you. You are choosing to ignore them, and it will be your downfall. Your lack of humility and your outright denial of fans and paying customers is going to be why this blows up in your face. With this movie, you have people actively rooting against you because they're fans of a previous incarnation of Superman in DC. Zack Snyder's. Maybe, but the Snyder fans are... Oh. That's not the whole Superman base. That's not even the majority of it. And as far as them rooting against Gunn, I think if it was just a good Superman film, they'd come around. Also, Brian, again, that's not a question. That's just a statement. Gunn, fake surprise. What? Laughs. Ugh. As you may have heard. Brian, that's not a question. I'm trying to think of how to say this best. Oh my gosh, you know this is... You know what's best? Say nothing, James Gunn. I'm trying to think of how to say this best. I don't mind it. I think it's good. I think you don't want to have everybody root for you. It's Superman! It's not you! It's Superman. And the fact that you are making it about yourself is once again proof that this movie is not for anyone except your dog. This movie is for your dog, and that is it. That's who you're making the movie for. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. And I have an actor who reads everything online. I won't say who it is, but he'll read this article and he'll know who it is. It's one of the top 5. It's one of the top 5 in Superman. And this actor gets so upset over things that people say. It's good to be tuned in. It's not good to allow other people's opinions to change your perception of yourself, especially when they don't know you. Now, what people are saying about Superman, they're saying about the character, not yourself. That actor needs to understand the difference, much like James Gunn needs to understand the difference. I said, first of all, you realize that the trailer came out and reaction was 97 to 98% positive. No, it wasn't. These people help us because you don't want everything to seem 100% positive. What? Bro. Yes, you do. You're always shooting for 100%. You shoot for 100% because if you shoot for less than that, you're gonna land way less than that. Has this guy literally never had a coach or an instructor or a teacher or a parent or a sibling in his life? What? It's all right to have an opposing force every once in a while. some of the things get ridiculous. I just know that every time something comes out, it doesn't matter how positively received, there's going to be something that is of great controversy. It was great controversy that the sun caused Superman pain. Because it's stupid! It's stupid. That's not a controversy. That's people telling you that that idea is stupid. You're the one that said, speak freely. Superman being harmed by the yellow sun is stupid. S-T-U-P-I-D. Stupid. He also ridiculous, unintelligent, retarded, and overall just not so good. That would be on your scale of not so good. Good Lord, heaven deliver us. This is your Superman director and writer. Another alarm? Well, so far I'm still in one piece, though my power has been flickering in and out, so I apologize. But that's not what was happening. That was his bones snapping back together, right? Brian finally asked the question, why would Superman's bones break? Am I supposed to believe that the impact of Superman hitting the ground broke his bones? Or that something was powerful enough to break Superman's bones by hitting him that hard? That's what I'm supposed to believe? Oh, I can't wait for this. It's like when a doctor resets your bone. You scream, no, that's a huge... Once again, James Gunn placing his own limitations onto Superman. But it doesn't effing matter. My goodness. Doesn't effing matter. Because is it really that is that really a controversy? Yes. Is that really something you're upset about? Yes. You are depowering Superman so that you can elevate. You're not elevating everybody else. You're just bringing Superman down. Or at least trying to. Utterly insane. Or did you have a hard time finding something to be upset at? Oh, not that I should be surprised. This is the guy who, a few paragraphs up just said that fan theories and fan debates were effing stupid. That's what he said. I don't know why I'm surprised about him saying this. Oh, you just had to find something to be upset about, didn't you? This dude, didn't he just say that he doesn't try to antagonize people anymore? That he doesn't really enjoy it? He absolutely 100% does. This man is a liar and a hack and a one-trick pony, and it's not a very good trick. And the pony's dead. It's already at the glue factory. There's always going to be that. There's going to be something that people are upset about, and it's okay. This actor reads everything. He reads every effing Reddit thread. Oh, bro, I wouldn't go to Reddit. Oh, my word. That is the cesspool of humanity right there. I need to find this actor and bring him to the light. Not the light coming out of James Gunn's ass. Not that light. The real light. He watches all of the videos, including by people who make their living by hating us. Oh! Somebody watches Gary's stuff. And Geeks and Gamers, I have no doubt. That's how they make all their money. No, it's not. That's not how they make all of their money. Not at all. Oh, and by the way, I should point out that there were these guys, maybe you've heard of them. Siskel and Ebert became Ebert and Roper. That was their entire job. People would listen to them to try and gauge whether or not they wanted to spend their hard-earned money and their precious time giving it to the director and the actors and the producers in the studio of the movie. Absolutely insane. I cannot believe that he is talking about I can't believe he's talking like this about the fan base of his IP. Oh my gosh. But also stay off Reddit, bruh. But you don't have to watch their videos where they're talking about how you're awful. You can't be reading it all the time. It'll effing murder you. It's a terrible thing to do to your soul. You know what else is also terrible to do to your soul? Not listening to constructive criticism, James. That name is too good for you. Is this actor your lead, David Cornsweat? It's 100% not David. David is Superman. He's not a normal person. It's David. It's David. David, I'm gonna let you know. I really hope you are actually talented and that you knock it out of the park. But you are being set up for failure. You are being set up for failure. And I hope that DC, I hope that Warner Brothers does not hold it against you. I pray that they realize they're the problem. They'll never admit to it. I'm sorry, David. If this movie is not a $1 billion home run, I don't know. I don't know what to say other than I'll say this. If you, because see, here's the thing. Like, I know you can act. I'm talking like he's actually going to listen to this, but David, I know you can act. I've seen it. You're not incapable. And I hope that you attempt to do justice to Superman and to Clark Kent. And if you do that, and this movie flops, then the only thing that I can say is that I'm really sorry that you seem to be suffering from the same curse that seems to be surrounding several talented, especially masculine actors today, which is you have talent, you have the chops, and people want to see what you can do, but other people on the production team or on the studio head or whatever it may be, in this case it's both, from the same person, because of their hubris and utter just disregard of fans, of paying customers, you're going to catch flack. Like, if this doesn't go the way that James Gunn is saying it will, and that DC Studios and Warner Brothers needs it to go, it's gonna come back on you. And we know this because we've seen it happen to other actors. We've literally witnessed this at DC, within Warner Brothers as a whole, at Disney. My gosh, do you guys remember how hard that backlash came on Johnny Depp with Pirates of the Caribbean? It was awful, and it was all the studio. They needed a fall guy, and they chose Johnny. Okay, I've put this part off. I've put this part off for long enough. Let's get into Lex, which, if you remember, the excerpt from above was that he relates to Lex way more than he should. What was your way into Lex Luthor? So this time, it's not crypto. I really understand Lex. Yep, I believe it. I feel like I relate to Lex way more than I wish I did. I don't think you wish you related to him less. But for me, Lex looks at Superman like artists look at AI. I already hate where this is going. He is the world's greatest man in so many ways. He's done these unparalleled things. And then you got a guy who comes in who's done nothing to deserve the ability to fly and to smash down buildings. Gunn is telling on himself. Lex is going to be the misunderstood villain. He's gonna make a sympathetic Lex Luthor. Dear God. He's saying Lex is the world's greatest man in so many ways. He's done these unparalleled things. He's talking about like the technological advancements and the charity work and the hospital, like, but Lex never did those things for the good that they brought. He did those things for himself. That's called false humility and false charity. And apparently when you try to put humility and charity together, you get humidity. And then you got a guy who comes in who's done nothing to deserve the ability to fly and to smash down buildings. What do you mean doesn't deserve it? He literally was ejected from his home planet so that he might be able to survive a cataclysmic event. And his people had so much technology and so much experience, so much knowledge and wisdom, even though, guess what? Their hubris was their downfall. And to you, because he was born with it, he doesn't deserve it? Get out of here, you ingrate. You poor, misguided soul. And he's also extraordinarily handsome, too. And all of a sudden, that's all the world is talking about. Yeah, see? Gunn. That's why Gunn got rid of individuals. Because even when Gunn did that, guess who everybody was talking about? Not Gunn. And all of a sudden, that's all the world is talking about. And that sort of obsession with being replaced, with your gifts not being seen or passed over, I think it's what drives Lex. I relate to everything he does. He's just meaner than I am. No, he's richer and smarter than you. You are way meaner than Lex. Way meaner. This is gonna be a disaster, guys. This is going to be a disaster. I had to stop creating so that people would like me. That's downplaying it. Love me. Yeah, we read that earlier, right? Do you know what you're writing and directing next as far as the film? Good job, Brian. You asked the question. Yeah, probably. I know what I'm writing right now. I hope you know what you're writing right now. James. And it's a DC film. And it's a DC film. That's a statement, Brian. Yeah, nothing yet. I'm just getting into it. I really have a hard time writing when I'm in the late stages of post-production, which is we're almost done, but I really have a hard time. Bro, this shit comes out in 3 weeks. How are you not done? I traditionally start heavily writing the day whatever my last movie comes out. I write treatments first, so I'm a couple treatments in. We're doing a thing again where we just say stuff. You once said that the fact that Robert Pattinson's Batman is not in this universe was Matt Reeves' choice. Does that mean if it were up to you, you would have just pulled that into your universe? It would be a consideration. That's a no. We'd have to think about it. It's not like we've never discussed it. That's a no. That's a no. It's interesting. Your answer is much more present tense than I expected, as if it's an ongoing possibility. That is, again, that's a statement, Brian. Pulitzer Prize winning journalism right here, guys. No, I don't. Batman's my biggest issue in all of DC right now. No, he's not. The biggest issue right now is the fact that your film comes out in 3 weeks. And it's not done. And on top of that, everything that you have done in the marketing is tanking this film. Tanking it. No, I don't. Batman's my biggest issue in all of DC right now, personally. And I'm not writing Batman, but I am working with the writer of Batman and trying to get at which Batman. Is it Tom King? Because he's incredibly important to DC. Yes. As is Wonder Woman. Whom you're already working on. And it went from a series to it went from an HBO series to a film back to a series, like, just weird. Wonder Woman is the epitome of poop soup right now. So outside of the stuff that I'm doing in the projects that are actively going, our two priorities are finishing our Wonder Woman and our Batman scripts. My head hurts. The Batman script, is it still called The Brave and the Bold? Right now, yeah. Right now. Okay, but you changed Superman Legacy to Superman, and you changed Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow to Supergirl. So Batman the Brave and the Bold, oh my god, The Brave and the Bold, it's going to just be Batman. Why even fight it at this point? In the broadest sense, what needs to be figured out to make those two properties work, Batman in the broadest sense, what needs to be figured out to make those two properties work, Batman in this universe? You said two properties and then you only said Batman. Batman and Wonder Woman. But we're skipping Wonder Woman and we're just going to Batman. Good job, Brian. You asked another question. Batman has to have a reason for existing, right? No! He was born. He went to a theater with his parents where they were mugged and murdered. He is literally the biggest IP. He is the most recognizable and the most profitable superhero in the world. I think Spider-Man might have him tied, but when it comes to like merch and comic books and movies and soundtracks and like fandom in general, and oh my gosh, it's not even close. Not even close. Batman has to have a reason for existing, right? So Batman can't just be, oh, we're making a Batman movie because Batman's the biggest character in all of Warner Brothers. Yes, you can! Which he is. Yes! Yes! Why is this a problem? That is his purpose for existing. Because he is Batman. He is the biggest character in all of Warner Brothers. But because there's a need for him in the DC... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Just make a Batman movie! Stop with this interconnected universe bullshit. And, oh, I just swore. Sorry. Stop it. Make an exceptional Superman film. Make an exceptional Wonder Woman film. And make an exceptional Batman film. That's what you need. I don't care if you think your universe needs him or not. He is the DC. He is Warner Brothers. He is DC. DC doesn't exist without him. He doesn't need a reason to exist. He is the reason everything else exists. You insane psychopath. But because there's a need for him in the DCU, and a need that he's not exactly the same as Matt's Batman, but yet he's not a campy Batman. Oh, we have to be innovative again. I'm not interested in that. You're not interested in campy Batman or Matt's Batman? I'm not interested in a funny campy Batman. Really? Because you're interested in a funny campy Superman. I'm not interested in a funny campy Batman, really. So we're dealing with that. I think I have a way in, by the way. I think I really know what it's. I'm just dealing with the writer to make sure that we can make it a reality. Is the way in, well, you've already used your dog and yourself. So your dog was your way into Superman, and yourself was your way into Lex Luthor. Is your wife your way into Supergirl? Is that how you got into or Wonder Woman? Well, what's your way into Batman? Is it Tom King? Because then we're gonna have a really big problem. And how about for Wonder Woman? Similar. Wonder Woman, I think, is actually easier for me because there haven't been so many infinite portrayals of Wonder Woman. Ha ha! Wrong, bucko. Definitely not in movies. Wrong again, but really anywhere. He just insulted Wonder Woman. She's literally the third part of the DC Trinity. What is this? This guy is literally, he's just making stuff up. He's just making stuff up. He is literally just pulling stuff from places and throwing it against the wall. Oh my goodness gracious. Good golly gee willikers. Oh. There have been, but really anywhere that there have been of Batman. Every single Batman story has been told. No. No, it hasn't. Not even close. Literally, new stories have, since human existence, humans have come up with new stories. But, again, oh, your well is dry, go raise the goats. Go raise the goats, James. Go raise the goats. There is no well. And I'm not talking about the first Noel. It's not Christmas. I am talking about there is no depth. There is nothing there. Never was, never will be. It is sand blowing across the desert, becoming insignificant amongst all the other sand dunes, and you know it. You are a silent but deadly fart in the middle of a hailstorm. In a smaller pond, with smaller attention, with a more dedicated personal fan base, you would have devastated people with just your brilliance and your silent but deadly fart. But you are in the middle of a landfallen hurricane tornado that has picked up the element of fire as well. We'll just throw all the elements in there. And your best is an insignificant whisper in the storm of creativity. You have nothing to offer, and you should just walk away. You have admitted you have nothing to offer. But you are not humble enough to just walk away. You do not want to write these characters because you love them or you respect them or you cherish the fans who adore them that have turned them into the multi-billion-dollar brands and IPs that they are. You want the adoration that you think these characters can deliver because you believe it is owed to you. I got news for you. It's not. The reality of the situation, James, is that I know men and women who have worked hard their entire lives and nobody remembers their name. Nobody. There are men who fought and died in World War I and World War II, and they were part of a mass burial. Some of them were kidnapped, tortured, slaughtered, and then burnt in a pile. They have no grave marker. And they have done infinitely more for this world and the human beings in it than you could ever dream to. And nobody remembers their name. That is literally why we have the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. For every single sailor, soldier, marine, airman, anyone who ever fought for this country who was forgotten. Your ranting and your raving and your berating is not going to delay the inevitable. You do not have the spark. You do not have the genius. You do not have the love, the passion, or the humility to be remembered. And you are writing these stories for all the wrong reasons. And it has come out again and again and again and again in this article with your own words. Nobody is going to remember you. Most of the world, when they die, after their children and grandchildren pass, their names are forgotten. They echo in a void. Very few people are ever remembered throughout history. And a lot of those people whose names are remembered, they are not remembered for good reasons. For every Da Vinci, you have a dozen Queen Elizabeth I's who genocided Catholics. She should be called Bloody Elizabeth. Just like Bloody Mary gets referred to as Bloody Mary. She went after a few dozen Protestants, which is awful. Elizabeth literally imprisoned her own cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, for being Catholic, and Mary Queen of Scots died in prison after coming to her cousin for help. Queen Elizabeth I slaughtered, genocided hundreds to thousands of Catholics. And so and to ensure that that's not what she was remembered for, she found somebody who was more talented than her that she could control and hid behind the arts and humanitarianisms. Oh, look at what I'm doing for all of this art and for all of this poetry and all of these wonderful things. Pay attention to that and not to what else I'm doing. Constantine is remembered for crossing the Rubicon. That's literally where we get that statement from. And for destroying the old Roman Empire so that God could destroy the Roman pantheon of false gods. By this sign ye shall conquer. There are, for every George Washington, there are a dozen Queen Elizabeth I's. For every Constantine, there are a dozen Cleopatras. For every Teddy Roosevelt, there are a dozen Napoleons. For every King Richard the Lionheart, there's a mustache man from World War II. Way more. There's a dozen. Him, Mussolini, Stalin, Pol Pot. The list goes on and on. You make mediocre films that are not going to stand the test of time. When people say, who are your top 3 favorite directors? You're not among them. There was a list of top directors of all time, you would not be in the top 50. That is something that is outside of your reach. And it's not because you're incapable of it. It's not because you're not talented enough to do it if you were willing to actually see past yourself. The problem is, you will never see past yourself. That means your work can't grow. That means you're not going to do anything profound. Because you've never thought that anything could be better than you. Superman can't punch planets because you can't punch planets. Superman isn't allowed to be strong because you're not strong. I don't know how to tell you this, James, but the reason that you relate to Lex is because you are a villain. In the truest sense of the word. Not a misunderstood villain. Not an underdog. Not a down on his luck good old boy who just wants to tell stories. You are a vain, narcissist who has infinite hubris. And you are the one that is supposed to be riding Superman. That is, you are your biggest problem right now. You. And you are also the biggest problem for DC Studios and Warner Brothers right now. Let's finish this up. I really should clear this up. Is there still a non-zero chance that Matt Reeves' Batman will get sucked into your universe? Oh, Brian asked another question. Long pause. I would never say zero, because you just never know. But it's not likely. It's not likely at all. I'll also say Batman Part 2 is not canceled. That's the other thing I hear all the time. That Batman Part 2 is canceled. It's not canceled. It's canceled. That's me talking. We don't have a script. Okay, so then so he can say it's not canceled because it hasn't gone into production because they don't have a script. And remember, nothing happens unless he gets a script that he is happy with. Matt's slow. Let him take his time. Yeah, Matt, take your time. Let him do what he's doing. God, people are mean. Let him do his thing, man. Fans are mean because they want more of something they enjoyed. That's a new one. I'm not gonna lie, James, that's new. How do you want to be remembered? Have you thought about this? I don't give a yes, you do. Yes, you do. Nobody's going to remember you. Nobody. I want to be remembered that I was nice to my family, that my family and friends love me, but I don't believe in any of that liar. First of all, everything's a sandcastle. No, it's not. This is the guy riding Superman. Somebody wrote me that the other day. We have these problems, but that doesn't last. What will be remembered forever is the movies. No, they won't. There are hundreds, if not thousands of movies and television shows that have been made that nobody remembers. We have these problems, but that doesn't last. What will be remembered forever is the movies. I'm like, no, it won't. It's just effing disintegrating with everything else. What I really do care about. So now he's saying that there is no legacy. It doesn't matter what he does because none of it matters. The nihilism and self-centered, like, bro. Casablanca is older than my mother. Gone with the Wind is older than my mom. The Wizard of... I could list a dozen others off the top of my head. Some of them are older than my grandmother, who has sadly passed away. You're right, some things will fade. Stories never do. Exceptional stories are remembered. Beowulf, the Odyssey, the Iliad are proof of that. but because you are not capable of it, you just want everything to be forgotten. No, it won't. It's just effing disintegrating with everything else. Bro. This is the guy writing Superman. What I really do care about is that I'm good to my wife, and I really do care that I'm good to my friends and my brother and my sister and my mom. Okay, go raise goats, James! Go raise goats! I went to the funeral of one friend a few years ago, and he was split up from his wife, but he hadn't treated her well, hadn't treated his friends well. He had stood me up 3 times. Oh no. Supposed to meet me for lunch or something and didn't show. Funerals are always sad, but I think there's a kind of fulfilling sad where people are crying because they love somebody so much. And then there's this sort of depressing sad where it's like he just disappointed everybody and it's really hard for people to say nice things. He's literally speaking ill of the dead. He is literally speaking ill of the dead. We loved him, but it was hard, and that really affected me. So because he was unable to make lunch 3 times, he was a bad friend. Wow. I'm like, I don't want my funeral to be that. So I guess I really do think about it sometimes, but in terms of that, I want people to cry because I was good to them. The hubris on this man. He wants everybody to love and adore him so much that when he dies, everybody is in tears because of how awesome he was and that they are now deprived of his awesomeness, of his magnanimous self. That's literally what he's saying right here. I want people to cry because I was good to them, and they can no longer have that. Bro, this article held a mirror up to Gunn. Like, what's really interesting is that this was an incredible, like, I don't even know. What is that called? Not gauge. Litmus test. Superman is like the ultimate litmus test. Gunn hates and rejects Superman. Says he doesn't deserve what he has, that he shouldn't be who he is, that it isn't fair that he gets all that and he gets to be handsome. It's just unrealistic. I'm not going to write it like that. Because you're a villain. The way that people react to Superman tells you exactly who they are. Superman is one of the best litmus tests in the world. In the world. All this, I want people to root against me, and I'm the underdog, and woe is me. You know who that sounds an awful lot like? That sounds like Riri Williams from the comics. Real quick, tell me if this sounds familiar. This is probably really small for you guys, and I apologize. Chicago, years ago. Hi, this is Quiet Time, Miss Williams. I wanted you to know that I've decided what I want to be when I grow up. Well, let's hear it. I'm going to be a scientist. Great. Great. That's great. No, you're supposed to say, you mean like a nurse. And then I say, why would I say that? You're supposed to tell me nursing and teaching are noble professions and that people like me don't get to grow up and be scientists. Why would I do that? That's what they said to the first African-American female astronaut. Well, that was and she told them, no, I'm going to be an astronaut. And then she did it. Yes, that was a long time ago. Things were different back then, but because of people like her, a girl like you can do whatever you want. Fly anywhere you want and be anyone you want. Riri staring at the picture. I was kind of hoping you'd tell me the opposite so I would have something to inspire me to prove you wrong. Sorry, can't help you. And then she literally stares at her teacher because her teacher refused to be the villain for her. Riri was literally like, life isn't a movie. Riri literally wanted her teacher to be the oppressor so that she would have something to overcome. That is exactly what Gunn is doing in that interview and that part where he's talking about you don't want everybody rooting for you, and you shouldn't be aiming for 100%. He's literally trying to set the narrative of oppression for himself and for his project, because he knows that people love a good underdog story. What is left out of that context is, like I said earlier in the show, just because you are an underdog does not mean you are the good guy. The bad guys from World War II were the underdogs. They were the minority. They were the down and out. Until they weren't. Just because you are the underdog does not mean that your cause is just, and it doesn't mean you are the good guy. Unflippin' believable. Oh. We didn't even get to the other one. But that article was just, oh my gosh. Incomprehensibly bad. I would say downright evil, quite frankly. Like, that's kind of where we're at. Oh my goodness gracious. But we've reached the end. Our very first tangent. Man, we went way down the wormhole, didn't we? Way, 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 way down. But all good things. All good things. Right? Right. So I hope and I pray that when this film comes out in a few weeks, I really hope that they don't do to David what they did to Brandon and Henry. Brandon Roth actually did really, really well. But they missed the mark hard. And he was the fall guy. Snyder missed the mark hard. And Henry was the fall guy. So I just hope that with David, he doesn't become another fall guy. It's just wicked at this point. Genuinely, truly wicked. Just kidding. Here I am. I pushed a button. Haha. That's what happens when you're live. Things go wonkadoodle. But yes, I can't believe that Gunn has been there for 3 years and is claiming that he isn't responsible for any of this, while he is literally the co-CEO of DC Studios. Hold on to your butts, folks, because this Superman film, it's just getting worse and worse and worse from the marketing. Let's hope that a miracle can occur. If you're catching this on the replay, I likely had to edit out quite a few things because Warner Brothers and DC are hammering clips But if you're catching it live, hopefully you enjoy the small outro. We have been going live for over 3.5 hours. So the Tangent is not like Nostalgic Nirvana, which is the Thursday show. So the Tangent could be anywhere from like a 10-minute quick stream because some insanity has popped off to a like 7-hour stream of random insanity because we go down so many rabbit holes. But like I said at the beginning of this stream, I didn't think we would squirrel. We wouldn't be going off on very many sub tangents because this is a pretty big one, and we didn't get to the Entertainment Weekly article, which is just more James Gunn centric nonsense. It's literally Lois and Clark in an old telephone booth, and then James Gunn like knocks on the side of it and points to the camera, and they all chuckle, and it's pretty wild, to be honest, the amount that this man has inserted himself into the project. And if this flops and he's like, I'm not responsible, like, bro, you are everywhere. You are all over this project. It's you. It's Superman presents James Gunn's Superman, not Superman. Or James Gunn presents Superman. It's Superman presents James Gunn's Superman. It's bad. I called it like 2 years ago. And I had just been repeating the same thing over and over, and everybody called me a hater. I got called a Snyder bro. I hate Snyder's films. Now, don't get me wrong. Ben Affleck, like, some of the casting was bang on. Ben Affleck as Batman, best, most comic book accurate Bruce Wayne and Batman we've ever gotten, by far. Cavill, loved him as Superman, hated the movies, hated the suit. Did not care for Lois, for Snyder's Lois, Amy Adams. She is a rom-com princess queen person, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those movies are awesome too in their own right, but she's not Lois Lane. Aquaman, I liked the movies. I like Jason Momoa. He's not Aquaman. He doesn't look anything like the comic book. But I really did like the second one. And I like the first one. My kiddos love the Aquaman movies. But overall, it was pretty much the Snyderverse was a bust for me. It was a thing of really good casting, but the execution was terrible and flawed. And that's just the truth of the matter. So I laughed my butt off when I got called a Snyder bro. And I didn't even bring Snyder up. These trolls came into my feed to call me a Snyder bro and to say that I just can't let Snyder fans just can't let the past go. And I'm like, bro, I am not a Snyder fan at all. At all. Zero. I tried to be supportive of my friends and be like, yeah, and Snyder we trust. I'll laugh, da da da. But I can't. Even most of the Snyder fans that I know, they don't consider themselves Snyder fans anymore. It's pretty wild. But I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of The Tangent. We will be aiming for them on Tuesday evenings, and we will be trying to start a little bit sooner than we did tonight. I was playing around with some stuff and making last-minute decisions, and overall just trying to make sure that I was able to give you guys the absolute best, because you guys are awesome. Chat, you remain undefeated. I appreciate you guys spending your time, and for the supers, like, it means the world to me. It truly, truly does. I appreciate every single one of you guys. You are all amazing. So yes, the tangent might pop up throughout the week if something like crazy pops off and I've got time to jump on a live stream and we go on like a wild tangent about it. But we're aiming for, so it'll be Tuesday. The tangent will be on Tuesdays in the evening, little earlier than what we started tonight. Trying to aim for between 6:30 and 7:30 start times. And Nostalgic Nirvana will stay on Thursdays. And tomorrow, I will be playing a game with some friends in the late afternoon. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be chaos. And I cannot wait. So, as always, you guys are incredible. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Much love. God bless. Godspeed. And have a great night.
Fly, you fools! I have been, and always shall be,